Hello everybody, and welcome back once more to Anime Yay or Nay. I am the Outback Al.
I'm Hot for Justice.
I'm Yin&Jung.
And I'm NV Jitters.
And we're back here to keep on going through our top fives. Today is, I think it's our last number 3. Gav, what is our number 3 for the day?
My Hero Academia.
Damn. That's a pretty popular shonen right now. You know what else is popular right now? Magic Record. I think it's popular. I don't know. I don't actually follow a whole lot of stuff going on, but I know that we're watching that as well because there's another episode of episode 2 that came out today. Go watch this after this, or watch this first. Yeah, watch this first. Then go watch it, or watch it and then come back and watch this. You know, who knows? Do whatever you feel, but also like and subscribe and all that other crap. So,
or if you have a big brain, watch both videos at the same time. That'll really test your knowledge.
You're an ambitious man, I will give you that. So, My Hero Academia, this is Gav's number 3, as said before. It was also one of the shows on our Shonen Showdown from actually a while ago at this point. How did it fare in that? I know it won its first round against...
It beat Blue Exorcist, and it lost to... I believe it lost to... I think it lost to Demon Slayer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So, we ended up watching a whole lot more of it later on. I, at the very least, was binging a whole lot of this just to get prepared for this, so you were as well. So, yeah, we should be about caught up through season 4, I think, for the most part. And that's only because, that was the stuff in English, and I had to do a whole bunch of other stuff while I was watching it, so it's multitasking is not great with subtitles. Why don't we get into this? What's the basics? What is My Hero Academia? Gav?
Oh, great. So it's a world where, most of the population has developed superpowers called quirks. And I believe that's about, 80% of people have a quirk. At least, by the age of, by the time they're, a toddler, they develop quirks. And, then as they get older and their quirks develop, you can, change what your registry says about your quirk. But it's basically superheroes, and in Japan is where this is set. And yeah, it follows this boy named Izuku Midoriya, who was, I guess, quirkless.
Because of his toes.
Sure.
That was just really weird.
Yeah, they were like, oh, your pinky toe, you're not going to develop a quirk. All right. Something like that. But anyway, he doesn't have a quirk, and he's, obsessed with these heroes. He has, books and books full of, analysis and, of different heroes and their quirks and, strategies and all this kind of stuff. And the hero that he admires the most is this hero by the name of All Might, who is basically kind of just
Superman.
Strong. Yeah, Superman, basically.
Superman minus the flying and the heat vision.
Yeah. But yeah, so I guess the first, couple episodes, which we've talked about before if you watch Shonen Showdown, but, Izuku is, his friend,
in air quotes.
Yeah, friend in air
Big
quotes.
ass air quotes.
Yeah, Bakugo, gets, I guess, devoured by the slime villain thing. And so Izuku goes to save him, but can't save him because, it's not like he has any quirks that would help him out in the situation or whatever. And All Might ends up saving both of them. And Izuku's like, oh my god, All Might, do you think that I could be like you even though I don't have a quirk? And at first, All Might's kind of like buzz off kid, but then I guess once he saw how, like, determined he was to save Bakugo, and how, like, determined he was, like... Oh, he finds out his secret, too. He finds out that All Might only has, like, a certain amount of time per day that he can stay in his big buff form before reverting to, like, the scrawny-looking dude. And that, on top of the whole, wow, this kid is really, really, like, dedicated to saving people even though he doesn't have a quirk, gives All Might the idea to, like, hey, you know what, my quirk, One for All, is a quirk that can be passed down to other people, and so I'm going to pass this quirk on to Izuku, even though I just met him. But he thinks he shows a lot of potential, and so, yeah, he does that. And then the rest of the series kind of, like, goes along with Izuku's learning to, like, be a hero and how to control One for All. And he gets, like, accepted into UA Academy, which is, like, this big hero school. And it kind of, yeah, just follows, like, him and his classmates as they go through different scenarios, like, with learning how to use their quirks, fighting villains, doing internships, and all that good stuff. Sports festival, that too. Yeah.
Yep. All sorts of stuff. And then, you know, obviously villains show up and cause problems every single season.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's the broad strokes of that. Yeah, what are our initial thoughts? Without going into, like, spoilers, we're going to be talking spoilers in this at a certain point, but for now we're going to go spoiler-free. What are our overall thoughts here? I mean, Gav, you were describing the plot. What are your thoughts of this series overall?
I mean, I like it, or else it wouldn't be in my top 5.
Bit of a stupid question on my part.
No, you're good. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I think it's just, like, an interesting premise that, like, this kid is born without a quirk and now he suddenly has one and has to figure out how to use it. So I think that makes for, like, an interesting kind of, like, scenario. And then, of course, like, the whole... It's kind of like... I remember when this first came out, I was like, oh, Sky High. Like, this is just...
I can see that.
Like, this is just Sky High, which I was really into.
Same kid a little bit.
Little
No
bit.
powers, and then he has, like, super strength.
Yeah, and I
mean, he didn't hurt himself nearly as much.
Yeah, and I was really into Sky High, like, back when that was a movie.
There's a
that was
rival
popular.
who's got fire.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Sky.
There's a bunch of people with powers who you're like, how did you get into this school?
Yeah.
A
And
teacher who just
so-
has sonic boom powers.
Yep.
I'm seeing a lot of this, like, yeah.
And so I was kind of like, oh, Sky High the anime, alright, like, let's see what this is all about. I actually came across it when I was at a convention with some friends.
Kind of hard
And
not to
it
come
was-
across it, that kind of place.
Yeah, it was, like, the biggest, most popular thing out at the time. And I was kind of like, I recognized it enough because I kept seeing people cosplaying Todoroki everywhere. And I was like, oh, who's this guy with, like, the split hair and the scar? And then my one friend who was really into it was like, yeah, you should watch it or read it or whatever. And I was like, okay, I typically do better with reading, like, at a faster pace than watching stuff because I just have trouble watching stuff, especially by myself. So I was like, okay, I will read this. So I started reading it, like, after that weekend. And I caught up pretty quickly with it, except I'm not caught up with it anymore. But that's just because I've gotten busier since then.
Yep.
But yeah, I was reading it, and I hadn't actually really watched it until we did I had watched, like, the first, like, couple episodes, but, like, I hadn't actually watched it until, like, we did the Shonen Showdown for it. But it's definitely something that is interesting, whether you read it or watch it. I think that it's definitely good though to watch it because it kind of shows you how the quirks work. Because sometimes it's kind of hard to see action in manga, and you just kind of have to like picture it in your head. Like, oh man, like it's showing this action scene, but it's kind of hard to picture that. Like, so yeah. But I also really adore just seeing like all the other like kinds of interesting quirks that everyone has. I think that's probably the most interesting part for me is like when a new character gets introduced, like learning what their quirk is, and I'm like, oh, like how can they use that? And like, because a lot of times quirks like can be developed, and used for like other stuff than just the basic like, oh, this is what my quirk is and what it does. Unless you're Mineta, because like his quirk, like let's be honest, like
he shouldn't be in UA.
That with characters, yeah, he shouldn't be in UA.
But they'll never kick him out because he's a cockroach.
Yeah, but yeah, so
we'll get to him.
Yeah, we'll get to characters.
Him. I gotta agree with you with the thing, especially about the powers and that, how they're kind of like using them in unique ways and that sort of stuff. Because like I feel like that's not something that you often see in a lot of anime that includes like people with superpowers. A lot of it tends to like just be like, and none of this is a bad thing, but a lot of it tends to just be like, how do I use this in a fight and like to just hit someone really really hard. And I kind of like it when a show will take a more strategic approach to something. And this one definitely does, like especially in regard to like Deku. His whole thing is like figuring out like how someone's quirk works, then what to do about it. With admittedly, his powers are impressive, but also kind of limited. But
yeah,
they're simple, and sometimes the simplest tools are the most effective in the most situations. So. Yeah, it's interesting, and it's always interesting to see, like, especially like with the variety of powers that come out in this, like all the different ways that is showcased.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed this, especially on the binge kind of thing, because like I was enjoying it when I was watching it, for the Shonen Showdown, but it's getting a little like I'm trying not to go into spoiler kind of things for like other seasons and stuff because it's like keep it general. I'm trying to think here. My first experience with this, I think, was in Anime Club, because I forget. Were you running it at that point? At some point, you guys were watching it, but I wasn't coming super frequently because of things that were going on for me. So I was catching like bits and pieces of it here and there. So I saw a little bit of the beginning and like just an episode, like a sporadic episode or two. So it was like, it seemed interesting, but it wasn't like something that I was like, I got to go out and see this like right now. But kind of glad I've watched as much as I have at this point.
Yeah, I really enjoy this show. I don't really remember the first time that I watched it. I think it was before Club, but I don't really remember. I mostly remember reading the manga. To be honest, I only watched the first 3 seasons of the show until recently, but I've read the entire manga, so I'm caught up on that. And I don't know, I'm maybe more of a manga person in general, so I just can keep up with that a little bit better. But in terms of the show, I do agree with Gab that it's interesting to see it in action in a way, and I think there were a couple of arcs that I even enjoyed a little bit better in the anime because of the action. I guess I probably can't talk about them right now because you said don't go into spoilery stuff.
Not just yet, but yeah.
But there are a few that I kind of appreciated more in the anime, actually. But I would say overall, I think what really interests me about the show and the manga is just the storytelling. I think, to be honest, it's probably one of the mangas in anime and shonen that I find to be the most consistent in terms of its arcs and in terms of its characters and just keeping everything I don't know how to say tight and like focused. It feels like they have parts where they can slow down and take their time and just have character moments, but at the same time, it always feels like it has a trajectory. Like, it doesn't feel like it gets lost in the weeds or anything like that. I always get the sense that, the League of Villains and everyone is always looming, they're always doing something, but we also have those moments where we can just see the kids being kids at school and bonding together. So I like that it always feels like a series that has a purpose, and I think the themes are really strong, about being a hero and being the kind of hero that makes people smile and all that. Like, I find that that emotional core is really good and interesting, and it comes out in a lot of the impactful emotional moments in the show, and it comes through in a lot of different characters too, and is contrasted by like the villains ideas about like heroing is dead now or something, or the heroes aren't as good as they used to be, and they blah blah blah. So I think it has a really good strong contrast between the heroes and the villains. Both are understandable in a lot of different ways, so I like that. I like the contrast there. And the fact that they really do a good job at making the villains interesting and sympathetic as well, while still being obviously villains. So I don't know. I think there are a lot of things to like about this show and the manga as well. So I really enjoy both.
I mean, obviously, I've talked about this before during the Shonen Showdown, but I obviously love this show a lot too. Like, it didn't make my top 5, but it would definitely make at least my top 15, if not top 10. I really love this show.
This was one of your honorable mentions, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, it was one of my honorable mentions. Yeah, I remember it was either March or April 2019. After hearing so much about the show over the 3 years since it aired, I decided to watch it, and I ended up binging the first 3 seasons and the first movie within a month, which, I mean, I'm sure that's something you just did, Al, so...
More or less, I think. Probably around a month-ish.
Yeah, so I really fell in love with the show, especially season 2. I think season 2 is my favorite season out of the well, I guess 5 that have been airing so far, but out of the 4 completed seasons, season 2 is easily my favorite. And I love the characters, I love the action, I love the music, I love the animation. I pretty much love all of it, and I think I mentioned this before, but like, obviously I didn't grow up with the anime, so I didn't watch, the big 3 shonen, like One Piece, Naruto, Bleach, and Dragon Ball, and, stuff like that. So this is pretty much my growing up with a traditional shonen show, because obviously I love JoJo, but that's not a traditional shonen in any sense of the imagination. So My Hero is basically my shonen, my Dragon Ball Z, my Naruto. So I do have a connection with that. I do have some complaints about the show, mainly with season 4, and I think some characters are better than others. We'll get to that later, but overall, I do think that the show, when it hits its stride, really hits its stride, and I think later on, when more seasons inevitably get announced, they'll be going into really deep, dark territory for the show, which I'm sure Yin knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say in a broad sense without going into spoilers.
I think that's about all we can say without talking spoilers at this point, because I think we're, like, everything else is going to go into a lot of character-heavy stuff, a lot of plot stuff, a whole lot of things that are, like, yeah. So, if you haven't watched up to the end of Season 4, I guess you can cut out now. It's a yay overall, I think. Give it a watch. Who's ready to do spoiler talk?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. 3, 2, 1, spoiler time. All right, what do we want to talk about first? Characters, plot, what?
I guess we could probably, go over a brief overview of the arcs for each season.
Okay. First one. You go to school, and you learn how to hero, and then bad guys show up during your field trip and try to kill all of you. Season
Pretty
2.
much, yeah. Tournament arc. Tournament arc.
Yeah.
Barely.
Oh, but that was the main joke going into the first half of season 2 back in the day.
Yeah.
Like, people, it's just, I mean, to be fair, that is one of my favorite arcs in the show, the sports festival arc, but yeah, it's a tournament arc.
I mean, I'm going to throw this out there. Should we talk highlights and whatnot of the first season before we, like, start hitting everything else?
Yeah.
I mean, I think for me, like, the biggest thing is probably, like, character introductions and whatnot. We don't really get to learn about everybody just yet, but we get, like, a good amount of information on our main characters, Deku, All Might, even Bakugo, and, you know, get some cursory information about everybody else, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, we see Deku making some new friends, Uraraka and, Wow.
Tenya.
Tenya. I couldn't think of his name first. J. Michael Tatum, that's what I call him.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, obviously the big highlight with the USJ arc is the villains attacking, and then we get the big showdown between All Might and the giant Nomu.
Yep. It's a pretty basic first arc overall. Like, there's not a whole lot to it. It's pretty much just setting up the school and how everything works. Like,
yeah,
you're not
it
getting
introduces you to the League of Villains.
Yeah, that too. But you're not really, like, getting into a whole lot of depth just yet. I gotta say, like, probably the most character growth, development, arc kind of thing that we kind of started to see was probably with Bakugo. Because I think I mentioned this. I don't particularly like him, but I like his character in a way, at least, like, what they're doing with him. Like, the kid with the obvious superiority complex, who is now kind of, like, who was big fish in a little pond, and now he's on little fish in a big pond. And him kind of learning to deal with that, and the fact that the kid he probably picked on the most and, like, thought he was better than the most is suddenly catching up to him, like, very quickly. And I think it's been very interesting to watch over the last couple arcs a little bit. How about you guys? What was your guys' favorite part of Season 1? Season 1, Arc 1, whatever I guess you want to call it. It's kind of interesting because, like, Season 1 was, like, 13 episodes and everything else is, like, 20-some episodes.
Yeah.
I'm almost wondering, do you think they just didn't believe in this out the gate and they were kind of like, we're not going to give you a full show just yet?
It was either that or they were trying to let the manga stretch out a little bit more before they started adapting it. I don't know how long. I think the manga was out 2 years before the anime came out, so maybe they were wanting I don't know. I don't know what they were thinking, but yeah, I'd maybe go with that, I guess.
Yeah, in terms of Season 1, I think what sticks out to me the most is just Izuku's development and him going from, like, an average quirkless kid who's just really interested in superheroes and really wants to be one to actually starting to become one. And also his relationship with All Might, I think, was really focused on the first season. So I think we got to see that student mentor, and also, you know, the kid and his hero kind of dynamic. I felt like those were the strongest parts for me in Season 1. It was nice seeing some brief introductions for the other characters, but I feel like their best character stuff actually comes later. So for me, I think it was mostly Deku and All Might that interested me in Season 1.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah, I like the interactions between some of the students. Like, I mean, she gets more development later, but I love Uraraka as a character. I'm one of the few people in the fandom that actually ships Deku and Uraraka together, so I like their interactions together, and I like a lot of the other characters as well. It was, like I mentioned earlier, the only problem I had with Season 1 was Bakugo, and I don't want to throw my voice out again through another rant, so...
No, he's a shit human being. He's a great character, but he's a horrible person, especially in this season.
I'll talk more about Bakugo as we go on with the seasons, but yeah, that was my main problem with Season 1. As far as an introductory season, I think it did its job well. It set up the world, it set up Mizuku's journey, and yeah, it introduced the main threat of the show, the League of Villains, with Shigaragi as the main overarching villain, and yeah, they set the stage well, in my opinion.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, like, what else? I'm wondering if we should. You brought up ships. Should we have just a section for that later, or
Yes.
because that's? I know that I'm not particularly in the fandom. I'm a fan. I'm not in the fandom, and everybody who knows that knows what the difference is. But apparently, shipping is one of the biggest goddamn things in this whole fandom.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
maybe we'll share our opinions, maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. We'll save that for later. Needless to say, I think it's fairly obvious who they're kind of trying to set up.
Yeah.
A little bit initially. Yeah. But yeah, so it's neither here nor there. So, yeah, what else should we talk about? Should we also talk about anything? Or we have any other thoughts on season 1? Who was the highlight character for season 1? Do we all feel like?
All Might.
All Might?
Yeah.
He did have that big fight at the end. That was pretty good.
I think season 1 he was very strong.
Okay. I'm trying to think like who might be coming up close to that. I mean, obviously Deku.
Yeah.
Is highlighted a lot. But
I think Eraser had a little bit as well. But I think we get some more from him later on too. I feel like there's a lot of development for like certain characters later. But I felt like he made an impression.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Eraserhead in the beginning of season 1, it almost made me think like, oh, is he going to be the Snape type character? but then later on, you find out no, he does care about his students. It's just he tries to, he doesn't try to be all goody with them like All Might. He wants to, push them to their
He's
limit.
Tired.
Yeah.
Well, figuratively and literally.
He can't muster that sort of like everybody smile and be happy attitude. He needs his sleep, and he does not get enough. Like, what was that one character later? My circadian rhythm is completely off.
Was like,
I think they're like they're brothers in another life kind of deal.
The hero license dude.
Yeah, I never saw whether he had a quirk or anything. I'm actually like wondering because like Eraserhead was like he was a pro hero for a while, and they didn't really show a whole lot of anything that he did, but from the one like shot of him as a hero that was kind of like not flashback, but kind of like I think just Deku describing him, he looked like he was like working at night. I'm almost wondering if he was like doing a whole Batman thing of like I only work at night and take down people in the shadows kind of deal. It kind of feels like him, but at the same time, it's like that's gonna fuck your sleep cycle to hell by the time you're the age that he is.
When your quirk revolves around you not blinking, it'll be kind of hard to not blink during the day when it's sunny.
Yeah, he's a night owl, and now he's forced to work training students in the daytime.
Yeah, but he was cool in USJ fight.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely like and again, that's one of those things of like that the show does very well is like showcasing someone's power when they don't exactly have like the flashiest moves kind of thing. Like his power is just taking away someone else's power. That doesn't like I mean, when you're thinking about like someone who like solely relies on their powers, that gives you a big advantage. But like it's like other than that, there's no other offensive capabilities to it. He has to like fight on his own. He's probably one of the best like just hand-to-hand fighters in the show.
Yeah.
Simply because of that. Yeah. Trying to think of anything else. I don't know. You guys got anything else for season 1?
No.
All right, season 2. All the good stuff that got spoiled for me. So this is kind of like a two arc season. Because on the one hand you have the sports festival, which is like I guess this world's replacement for the Olympics because it's just more interesting, and the hero killer arc.
with a little bit of the final exam arc at the very end.
Yeah, I guess that was there too, but does that not lead into like season 3? I thought that was season 3.
Wait,
No,
which
season
arc?
3 was season 2 was the final exam for the first semester. Season 3 was the provisional license exam.
That's what I'm thinking of. Okay,
Yeah.
all right. So yeah, I mean, we might as well like. I feel like if we were to like probably look it up, I feel like one of the fan favorite arcs would probably be the sports festival.
There's so many good moments in the arc.
There are, and I've mostly, whether it was in that recap episode or whether it's just like online people talk about it, I feel like the majority of people love to talk about the tournament element of it, to the point where you think like that's like the only part of it. It's really not, and I don't actually think it's the best part. But
Yeah, the actual best part is the character interactions that make up the fights.
nope. I think the best part's cavalry battle.
I do love cavalry battle.
It's that is a completely, in my opinion, underrated section of this thing. Because it's like the whole thing is like three-pronged. It's the first one is the obstacle course thing. We have to fight a bunch of robots in a minefield and all sorts of other yada yada yada. Great place to showcase your powers, like just initial abilities. And the third part is the tournament where it's battling. But like I feel like everyone's seen a battling tournament no matter what shonen you're in. I think the second one with the cavalry battle showcase something. Again, why I love the show. Showing off powers in a unique way. And especially using them in combination with each other. Like, you create a team of 4 people, 4 different power sets, and it's like, okay, how are you each going to use these? What strategies are you going to employ? I think everybody had a cool strategy that was going on in that one. Whether it was Deku's team, Todoroki's team, Bakugo even. I actually really got to give fucking points to Mineta. Fuck me, he actually came up with a really good idea. I think that was probably the most interesting part for me.
See, I agree with you that it was an interesting showcase of like certain characters' intelligence and strategy, but to me it felt kind of like rising action. It felt sort of like warming up to something larger, which I think is what it was made for, you know, almost like
that.
Showcasing, okay, these are the dynamics of the characters and their powers, and then what will happen once they're in the tournament together, like one-on-one.
I could see that.
So I do think the tournament part was still the most interesting for me, and it had those big, like, epic moments that were character-driven as well, while still showcasing the powers and the interesting battle sequences. I liked that that it was really about the characters' conflicts and inner dramas, especially with Todoroki.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was gonna say this was the arc that started to make most people love Todoroki, like him being a fan favorite character, because you start to go into his past, you know, came from an abusive father, like with Endeavor, and, you know, he never wanted to use his fire powers because he resented that side of him, but then during him and Deku's fight, Deku realized this is your power, you get to use it how you want it, and the fights themselves are well animated, don't get me wrong, but I think the stuff that really stands out is the emotions behind them. Like, even when it was Uraraka versus Bakugo, it's like many people wonder, okay, how the hell is she gonna fight against a dude that literally blows shit up? Well, she nearly won, and she probably could have won on another day. She just you show how she can be capable as a hero, and I just think that this whole tournament, while being in the grand scheme of things not the most consequential in terms of like actual moving the plot forward, the way it moves the characters' interactions and their personalities forward, I think that's what really makes it stand out for me personally.
Yeah, and those 2 fights are the ones that stick out to me too, the ones that you mentioned. Definitely Izuku and Todoroki for those same reasons, mostly driven by like Todoroki's conflict. And then also, yeah, the Ochako and Bakugo fight really stuck out to me. And it was interesting how like everybody was doubting that she would make it, but weirdly enough, Bakugo was taking her seriously, and it seemed like it really showed that like he had some respect for her and her powers too, and it showed me almost a different side of Bakugo.
I don't know if that is a different side of Bakugo. I think the thing for Bakugo is that no matter who he's fighting, he's always going to go all out. So I don't think it mattered
That's
who he
true.
was fighting at all. Because he was like, I'm going to fuck you up. And I am not going to hold back anything. Because I think that's just who he is as a person. He doesn't have like that sort of like, I'm going to restrain my abilities just because you're whoever you are.
I guess that's fair.
So, in some degree, I think it's a matter of he respects everybody equally and that he hates everybody equally.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
like,
To him, you're all inferior.
Uraraka, I don't hate you anymore. I hate you. I don't hate you any more than anyone else, but that also means I don't like you more than anybody else, which means I respect you the same as everybody else. You are beneath me, and I'm going to kick your ass.
I still hated Bakugo by this point, but I did get a crack at that one joke where, like, he first figures out that he's going to fight Uraravity, because that's Uraraka, and then he's like, who the hell's Uraraka? And she's just sitting like next to him. It's like, what the hell? I'm in your class, dude.
Yeah.
I think, though, I think it's a situation of, like, I think he's like me a little bit. I don't remember people very well the first time I meet them, and I'm bad with names, and I think he's probably just really bad with names.
I think he just doesn't care that much.
Well, that's another thing. So it's like, you have to make an impression on him. Like, Kirishima made an impression on him. Uraraka, through that fight, well done. She made an impression on him. But, like, I think it's mostly just a personality thing. He just,
Yeah.
Plus, he doesn't socialize with any of them, so how is he supposed to get to know any of them?
Right, he doesn't hang out with anybody but Kirishima.
Yeah.
I think, like, Shinso had some interesting stuff in this tournament, too.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about him.
Was he mind control dude?
Yeah.
Mind control guy.
Yeah. Go for it, Gav.
Oh, I was gonna start it off with that. I think the tournament made me interested in, like, the other, like, parts of UA, because they have not only the hero classes, but they have, like, the general class, the, like, business class, and then the
support class.
Support class, yeah, whatever, Mason. But I think that those, like, because May was showing off her support abilities with, like, her different inventions.
May?
Hatsume?
Her full name's May Hatsume.
Oh.
Yeah.
Bit redundant.
Yeah. Yeah. And she was, like, showing off her stuff with, I mean, she basically just did a huge advertisement when she was fighting, like, Ida.
That was a funny ass moment.
but her stuff was really cool. And then Shinsho, like, he wasn't very, like, his fight didn't last long at all because Deku, like, learned how to, like, fight against his mind control. But I definitely think that his, like, ability is, like, very interesting, and it makes me want to learn more about him as a character for sure.
He's a bit like he basically is the Purple Man from Jessica Jones.
I'm not familiar.
David Tennant.
Oh.
He tells you to do something and you do it.
Okay.
Yeah. But, like, with a moral compass. Because David Tennant didn't have one in that. He's a really good villain,
yeah,
actually.
like, Shinso could easily be a villain.
Well, that's what, like, everybody told him his entire life.
Yeah, the fact that he is pursuing being a hero, I think, makes him an interesting character.
Yeah, and, like, as long as you get your quirk off correctly, it's like, that's a really good power. You could literally just be like, hey, what are you doing? I'm robbing a bank. Okay, turn yourself in.
Yeah.
Like,
but it's interesting how he's not in the hero class. How he's in general.
Oh, yeah, he started out in general. I forgot about that.
I'm trying to think. Like, I think they mentioned he applied for both because he understood he probably was not going to make it in because of the hero qualification. I think he was, like, in the, maybe, like, the robot thing. You can't use your power on a robot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he had nothing
True.
he could do. He probably like got away with like 0 points and got like, yeah, you're not coming into the hero course.
I still question that method, to tell you the truth, about getting into UA, because like there's some characters in Class A and then later on in Class 1B that like, how the hell did they
Mineta, we
kill
know, Mineta.
Well, no, like not even just Mineta, but how did you kill so many freaking robots that you got into the class, or into the school? Like, seriously.
I'm trying to think, because it's not always robots. Because Todoroki's entrance exam thing was a race, like an obstacle course, essentially
Yeah.
like the first thing of this tournament. Because him and Wind Dude, whoever he is from season 3, they were both on that same thing.
Yeah.
So I think, what's his name, Shinso?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he just got really bad luck on that like initial thing.
Yeah, it's possible.
And also, it's just like, same with the like Toru, the invisible girl or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, how does that help? I don't know.
Well, again, I think a lot of it depends on. Well, one, it is a decent enough quirk for a lot of situations, but like, I think it would really depend
Only if
on
you take
like.
off all your clothes, though.
Okay, true.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you can definitely still see her.
True, but like depending on what the entrance thing was, whatever the randomly assigned hero specific course thing that she got put on, she apparently got in. We have to assume that's how Mineta got in. I don't see Mineta ever fighting robots for real.
Well, I mean, he could make them stick
Yeah,
and then
but
just stop them and then just knock them over or something, you know?
how is he?
I don't
going to
know.
knock-
He's small, but
You
he
didn't-
might find a way.
You didn't think that through.
I'm just saying, like, I think I can see it a little bit better than some other people.
All right. Does anyone else have anything else to say about the tournament? Because I kind of had a thought that I wanted to put out there.
Go for it.
So I think part of the reason that the tournament part of it didn't impact me as much as the cavalry battle is
You already knew how it ended.
that might have been a factor. But I will say this because I have been given Envy a little bit of grief here and there about it recommending a recap episode for a filler thing, so stuff we haven't seen. Despite the fact that I knew how it was going to turn out, it still executed very well. So the arcs that were spoiled for me, I still enjoyed. So
It's good.
there's that. I can't say for sure. Would I have enjoyed them even more had I not seen it? I can't say. I can't make that sort of like look into the other universe where I haven't seen this kind of thing. But I think the larger thing for me is like, one, I've seen a bunch of tournament arcs and a bunch of shonen, and I don't know that this one holds up as well as some other ones.
Are you comparing it to Naruto's?
I'm comparing it to Naruto, Dragon Ball Z, Yu Yu Hakusho, and probably
okay.
like 4 or 5 others that I've seen.
You
And
think it's the lesser of all of those?
I don't know that it's the lesser of all of them, but it doesn't... I think part of the problem is half of the matches in this tournament are over in like 10 seconds.
All right, none
Yeah.
of them were quite as
Yeah.
good as the Gara and
Rock Lee?
Rock Lee.
Okay.
But
That is one of the gold standards.
Yeah.
Okay. There is like there's like some
hard
tournament
to
arcs
beat that
just
one.
have like those top tier fights. You talk like Yusuke, younger Toru, stuff like that, or like like Goku versus Master Roshi in the original Dragon Ball. Like they're just they're the big fights that everybody remembers. Or yeah, you know, insert thing here. But like the main thing that I'm talking about is like, yes, we remember mostly the Todoroki Deku fight. We remember the Bakugo Uraraka fight. We remember Deku Shinzo. What really big do we remember past that? You mentioned Tenya versus Hatsume. That's comic relief.
Yeah.
Was that even really a fight?
see, I think some of the problems you're pointing out go back to some of the problems I have with the classes or the groups overall, which is that half of the characters don't have much.
Yes.
Some of them are wallpaper, to be honest.
Yeah, a little bit. Like the other fights, I remember all these fights. I don't remember them being good. Like some of them, like Hatsume versus Ida, are funny, and so was the Kirishima versus
Tetsu
his clone.
Tetsu.
His
Yes.
reskin.
Yeah.
It's
Can I
like
just
when you
say
have
real
two
quick
fighters
off the
in a
rec? Can
fighting
I
game.
just say real quick?
Go for it.
That character's name is one of the best names I have ever heard. For
Oh,
any
right. What
form
was
of
it?
Tetsu. Tetsu.
Yeah. So nice. They named him quadruple times.
I freaking love that. I crack up every time I hear that name. Like I don't know why. It just cracks me up.
That's pretty great.
Quad Tetsu versus Kirishima. It's when you have when you and player 2 both choose the same character in a fighting game, and one of them has to come out reskinned.
I saw a meme years ago where it was that episode of Pokemon where Ash and that one guy were paddling with their Metapods, and it was just them standing there.
Yeah, it's
hardening.
literally just maximum hardness. And it's just like hours later, and they both just collapse from exhaustion, and the Metapods are still going because they're not doing anything.
Yeah.
But still, it's a comic relief fight. If you want to have one comic relief fight, maybe two comic relief, but like a number of them, like Momo versus Birdie, that was over in 2 seconds. And like half of the other ones, it's like the only ones that actually lasted any amount of time were Bakugo Uraraka, Deku, Todoroki, and Todoroki Bakugo.
I do
Everything
agree
else was like,
about the fights.
It was over in a minute.
I do agree. I just think that I'm not saying you're wrong. I do agree that, the fights, while good, well, at least for the big three, were good. I haven't seen all those other tournaments, but I imagine, they're a lot better. I just think, like, the whole focus was mainly on the emotions, and, like, the Momo fight. That's important for her character going along.
It is,
especially
but
with the final exam arc.
It is, but again, that's a situation of, like, this is set up for much later. It's like, this is not important for now. And, like, I think... I feel like part of it is that I felt underserved a little bit. Like, with the other shonen tournaments that I'm talking about, whether it's the Dark Tournament, the Chunin Exam, the World Martial Arts Tournament, pick your iteration, you get to see full fights with all their different powers and their different moves and all that sort of stuff. What we had here was a setup for a large variety of fights with a lot of different possibilities. And we saw them, but not very much. They mainly just showcased 4 people we've already seen the powers of quite a bit.
Well, to be honest, and to be fair, I don't think they could really show as much because the characters haven't really developed their quirks yet.
I get that, but then maybe we should have had this tournament later. I feel like here's and I don't know, I haven't read ahead in the manga or anything or whenever they're going to get it. I know this sports festival is going to come around again. I'm really interested to see the second one after they've actually developed their powers a lot more.
I don't think there is a second one.
Son of a bitch.
I don't remember any of it.
It's held once a year, and spoiler alert, they're still in their first year in the manga.
Yeah.
That's fine. If they make it to their second year, I can't wait to see the second sports festival. Son of a bitch.
I don't think it's ever going to show their second year.
We don't want to spoil what's coming up, but...
How long is this year?
It's just a really long year.
I've read Harry Potter books shorter than this.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like I still really like this arc because the battles that were good were really good.
They were.
And I agree with Envy that I had really good character moments that propelled it. So even though I agree it's not as good as the tournament in the Chunin exam, for instance, I think it was still really solid. And I think some of the ones I don't remember, they were over pretty quickly. So at least I was like, this isn't boring. At least it didn't slow down. It only slowed down for the fights we really cared about, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah.
I still say the cavalry battle was the most interesting for me.
The what?
The cavalry battle.
Yeah.
I like the different strategies they were employing. It was like, are we going to go for like full offense? Are we going to like play more defensively? Are we going to go for a mobility kind of option? Are we going to go for like wide range attacks kind of deal? It's like everyone had a different strategy. I really like that a little bit. And it wasn't just a strategy of like, how am I going to succeed? It's like, how are we going to succeed What do we do and how do we do it? How do we work together to achieve this goal? And I don't know, I like teamwork a lot for that kind of thing. I think that's always cool. Like, I have my complaints about the Zabuza fight, but I do like that Sasuke and Naruto were finally working together in that part.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What's gonna work? Teamwork.
Okay. So we have anything, like, what else we got to say about the sports festival? How do we feel about the winner?
I mean,
Asshole.
the show kind of takes the piss out of Bakugo winning too. So
Yeah, that's good.
like they literally chain him up and muzzle him to have All Might present him the award because he's so pissed off about winning when he felt like he didn't get a fair fight. So
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it kind of brought him down a peg in a way, even though he won. So, you know what? I was happy with it.
Yep.
And I think, like, for Todoroki, that's not what it was about. I don't think it was ever about winning for him. It was more about his father, you know?
Yeah, he wanted to show off that I'm going to reject your shit and do
and that's what it was all about. It comes back with the stuff with the Wind guy, too, that it wasn't about beating him either. It was always about the dad, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that's always been Todoroki's focus. So I wasn't like, oh, Todoroki didn't win, because I don't even know that Todoroki cared that much about winning.
Yeah, he's just trying to deal with his daddy issues.
Yep.
Yeah.
So much daddy issues.
I find that storyline really interesting, though, and I really did start to like Todoroki a lot as a character with that backstory, and it does almost feel like he would have been, like, the main character in a lot of other
guaranteed.
things.
Aesthetically interesting, edgy boy? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure people have made this comparison before, but
He's Zuko, we know.
yeah, Aang is Deku and Zuko is Todoroki.
Zuko, yeah, absolutely. I mean, the looks, the powers, whatever. But yeah, I think at this point, like, Todoroki does become one of the most interesting characters with one of the most interesting backstories. And I like that it does open up later for them to focus on the stuff with his family. Because I think some interesting stuff with Endeavor and, you know, the mom and everybody comes later on. So I can't say much about the siblings, but there's some interesting stuff.
Yeah, they're not there much. They mostly seem nice,
you know,
I guess.
Later on.
The sister and the brother that we've met.
Anyway.
I know what you're doing. You know what? Spoilers. We already know spoilers. We
We
just
know.
say it?
We know.
We just saying it. We know Dobby.
Yeah. We all know.
Fucking house elf little bitch.
I think everyone knows at this point. But yeah, that's an interesting conflict that comes later as well. So I think the Todoroki family in general becomes one of the most interesting storylines.
Yeah.
Is that it for the tournament? Should we talk about Hero Killer?
Stain.
The, I feel like there's some sort of equivalent that I could be making here of, like, the person who has, like, a radical ideology that got taken down and is then lifted up as a symbol for a movement kind of thing.
Joker.
Yeah, for the Joker movie, yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Granted, the Joker movie was about a man that was, you know, kind of good at the beginning, and then he slowly went, you know, insane due to society. I think Stain was already mentally, like, evil, and he just kind of...
I don't know, he wanted to be a hero. Like,
yeah,
he wanted, like, early on, and then he was like, all the trappings of the modern hero were like, why are we doing this? Why are you doing this for money? Why are you doing this for, like, that? He's just like an old school fundamentalist who just, like, took it to the more radicalized extreme of that ideology.
And then, of course, you follow that up by killing heroes.
Yeah, I mean, when you go to the extreme of anything, it usually involves some extreme things. But yeah,
I do like Stain a lot as a villain. I do like his conflicts he has, and I think the two highlights for me from this arc was the final battle between Deku, Todoroki, and Tenya versus Stain, and then giving Tenya some development as well over his brother. I thought I liked that as well.
Yeah, he was cool. I liked him from the offset. mostly J. Michael Tatum, and I just liked his energy. He's kind of fun. But yeah, they give him a lot with his brother and everything, and how Stain kind of like ended his brother's career.
Yep.
I'm actually wondering, because like they were talking about like hero names and stuff. Has he taken up the name Ingenium yet, or is he not going with it?
Later on in the show, he does.
Okay. I'm trying to think what to talk about here, because like what do we go into?
I think for me it really. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
For me, yeah, I think a lot of it really was what was going on with Ida, and also I think with Stain, it's almost like the people that come after Stain who are so like inspired by him that really makes him impactful. Like you said, like his ideology, like I can think of like a bunch, like that lizard guy, and like I think there are a few others, and I think even Dobby to some extent, you know, like talk about Stain.
Toga. Without a doubt.
Yeah, they just like
Toro, is that her name? The blonde girl.
Toga.
Toga, yeah. Obviously, she's the most famous of the new villains.
Yeah, it's like all these people are just inspired by this one dude, you know, that we only see for an arc. So it's kind of interesting to see how he inspired like a whole bunch of the people who come later.
Yeah.
You could almost make the equivalent that Stain was the All Might for villains.
Yeah.
A symbol
Maybe
of
so.
tyranny.
Well,
yeah, he was definitely a symbol. I think that was the big thing, more so than who he was
again,
like what he represents.
I don't know that he's a symbol of tyranny. He's like, in a way, he's almost like the Punisher. I don't like the League of Villains clearly know they're evil and they're down for evil.
Seems like he's kind of like
he's clearly thinks that his ideas are correct and he's the good guy.
Maybe it's one of those things where it's like he doesn't like how things went and he wants to go back to like the old times.
Yeah,
whatever.
he's like,
which I think appeals to a lot of
regressive?
people. Yeah, like we see it in real life too, where everybody's like, why can't we just go back to how things used to be as if they were so good, you know? So
yeah.
I think he does represent an ideology that we see a lot in real life as well, and we see a lot of people buy into.
I think that's called like regressive regression type reversion.
I don't know.
It's opposite of revolution. It's
he wants to go back
instead
of moving like in the direction that we're moving. At least that's how I remember it, but it's been a while
I think that's
since
exactly
I watched that
it. But like, I think he doesn't hate heroes. I think to him, he is himself a hero. He doesn't like how hero has been in his eyes corrupted.
Yeah.
By like the modern like celebrity of it. And like the only true hero is All Might, so because he doesn't do endorsements or anything like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure I understand that, like why he appreciates All Might.
Maybe it's like a thing of like he's been around for a while, so maybe he's like the last hero kind of thing.
Yeah, but what is it that makes him any different?
I don't know. We're talking about the manifesto of a crazy person.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's just like All Might is the one who inspires all of the current heroes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, what is it about All Might that Stain also likes, except everyone loves All Might?
I think it's a matter of like All Might was that ideal. Everyone else after that is chasing the celebrity of the ideal. So he feels
like they don't live up to it.
Because I think, like, you can tell, and we could tell this about All Might. All Might didn't get into what he's doing to be a celebrity or to get rich. He wanted to help people, which is what a hero should do. And I think Stain agrees with that, but he's like, everyone else saw All Might and the success he had and decided, now we want to be heroes.
Yeah.
I think... Oh, God, he hates the phonies.
Right, he hates the phonies.
God, we had to bring that up again.
Yeah, it's like All Might is justice, and that's what, like not even just a symbol of peace, but like a symbol of justice, and that's what Stain wants is justice.
Yeah.
But in a weird sense of the way.
Yeah.
He thinks that the new heroes are doing an injustice, and so he wants to bring it back.
Yep. And from there, he inspires a whole bunch of other less than
Crazies.
stable individuals into action. What else is there to... like, that's kind of the big thing. It was
I
just
think,
like that whole arc was just that, really.
Yeah, but it also had the internship stuff, I believe.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
true.
Especially with, what's his name? Gran Torino.
Yeah. Deku's finally learning how to control One for All without killing himself.
Yeah,
Right.
without having the egg explode.
Yes, he had to... God, what's the analogy now? He had to evenly heat it like the fish cake.
Yeah.
I feel like if he really wants to figure out how to use One for All, he just needs to sit down with the Food Network for a few days and just like watch every single food show and just like figure out what analogy needs to go where, and he'll have it fully mastered in a week because he's a very quick study.
That's true.
Yeah, I like Gran Torino a lot. I'm a sucker for mentor characters anyway. That's why All Might's my favorite character, and Eraserhead's up there for me too. I don't know what it is about mentor characters. When they're done well, I'm like a sucker for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah, it's cool seeing the mentor of the mentor with Gran Torino.
Kakashi's my favorite character in Naruto.
There you go.
So
Kakashi.
Kakashi. Next week. Oh shit.
You spoiled it too soon.
We're in the spoiler section, so who cares?
Yeah. Whatever.
That's next week. God, I'm trying to think what else. What else for Hero Killer Stain and his
this
his
isn't really.
tomfoolery.
Well, there's a whole bunch of stuff with like Todoroki chose like Endeavor's agency, which is surprising to like, but he wants to like keep an eye on, I guess, like what his dad is doing.
I think he wanted to learn because he's like, I think he got a little bit more of like, he kind of accepted that part of himself. And even though he hates his dad, he at least respects him and acknowledges him enough to be like, okay, you got to number 2 for a reason. I can at the very least learn something from being here.
Yeah. I thought it was cute how Deku like sent out a ping and Todoroki was like, "Oh, I have to go. My friend needs me." And I was like, "His friend."
I mean,
Yeah.
I really feel like you should have put out that ping to everybody, and everybody would have come, because it's like, oh, because everyone was aware of what was going on. There was like a disaster going on. Why would my friend give me like a random ping in the middle of this? He knows what's happening right now, unless it's an emergency. Like something serious is happening right where he's at.
I thought he did do a general ping.
You know, he might have done
Was
a general
Todoroki
ping,
just
but
the
like
closest by or whatever?
he was more than likely, because I think they was like in a different city that only Todoroki and Ida were actually at the time.
Right, so I think nobody else
Host
I mean,
just
heck,
made
he
it.
wasn't even supposed to be there. He was like passing through on the train.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I just thought it was cute how he's like, "Sorry, Dad, gotta go. My friend needs me." And I was like, his friend! He's making friends!
He is making friends. He's making friends with one of the smartest kids in class. He knows what's up. He knows he has to go.
Yeah.
Whatever this kid says is going on, it's going down.
True.
Yeah.
Izuku's always in the middle of everything.
Yeah.
This kid's the Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Whatever's going down has to do with him.
Todoroki has some meta knowledge.
He is one of the smarter kids in the class. So, you
Yeah.
know, he's clearly
He knows
read.
what's up.
He's read up on some narrative plot devices and stuff. He knows how this works. I'm trying to think, like, Ida was mostly out for revenge. What did he learn from this? Because this was a bit more of his character arc than anything else.
To trust in others. Same thing with Todoroki. Like, Ida didn't want to get anybody involved. He wanted to, you know, if he was going to die, then, well, it's just him going to die. He doesn't want to endanger people. But then everyone realized that sometimes you have to work together to solve your problems. And then that's how they do it, because they needed all three of them to get around Stain's blood quirk. So that's basically what they learned.
I suppose so.
And also he's trying to, get over his trauma of, well, his brother nearly died and he doesn't want to carry on the Ingenium legacy just yet. So he's trying to, he thinks he has to earn his brother's name and legacy, even though his brother said, well, you can. You don't have to earn it.
Yeah, I think that was one of the parts that really stuck with me, was the filling the shoes of someone, or like being in the shadow of someone that you really admire, like an older brother.
Yeah. I'm kind of hoping after this, or whenever they get to the point where they're, working more regularly with... Because I don't think... Ida didn't have, a work study, did he?
He did.
He did? Okay.
Oh, wait, a work study or
work
internship?
Study, not an internship. This was his internship.
Yeah.
I'm hoping, at some point, he, starts working with his brother, and his brother ends up becoming, an oracle kind of thing. I don't know what his, overall medical issue... I know he was paralyzed, but, how paralyzed? Does he still have his arms? He could probably work a computer. He could be, he's the guy in the chair, the earpiece kind of thing. Ida can be the one running out in the field, and... his brother can be his mentor / tech guy, running the things from home base. I think it'd be nice. But probably a while away from there, because, we're going to be freshmen for the next 8 years.
Yep.
Son of a bitch!
You know what I was thinking of? How in the world did Stain learn about his, ability to, I guess, incapacitate people by drinking their blood? That's so specific. And I feel like he would have to learn if he was already killing people and was just being I'm just gonna, lick their blood, and then they froze, and he was oh.
Okay.
Oh, that's my quirk, but, I don't understand.
Maybe he was just really kinky.
Okay. Can I throw this out there? Because he's not the only person that we've seen who has a quirk that involves ingesting blood.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw out there, this is Hero Society, 80% of the population has some kind of quirk. I wouldn't be surprised if there was some level of a test for it. Of we're going to have you eat a couple things and see if anything happens kind of deal.
Drink some blood.
I also, throwing it out there, some quirks are inherited.
Yeah.
It's very possible that, maybe a parent had something, how did they test it? But, or, here's a question. What happens if he bites his tongue and he drinks his own blood?
He just...
my God! What if he just hit himself with that one time and he was like, fuck, what's going on?
That'd be terrible.
And then he was like, okay, what did I do?
Yeah.
And then he, starts testing a little bit and he's like, hey... You got a paper cut? Can I try something real quick? This is gonna be weird. Can I try something real quick?
Maybe.
It's holy shit, I know my quirk. Because here's the thing. Other than the adjusting blood part, it's not a bad quirk. Instant paralysis, that's pretty good. Whether you're a hero or a villain.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think to some degree there's probably some level of tests, like an allergy test or something. They kind of expose you to a little bit of something, or they expose I forget. I don't know exactly how they do. I've never had an allergy test, but or they take skin samples or something and expose it to certain things.
Probably by that time.
Yeah. And as soon as he figures out what the trigger is, then it's just a matter of testing stuff.
But what you said about some people inheriting quirks and stuff, brings up something that we were talking about a few days ago that still I'm not sure it makes sense. About Endeavor, how did he know that any of his kids would inherit his quirk and the mom's quirk?
Well,
because
you see,
don't people get quirks randomly?
Well, see, back in 18-something, there was a priest by the name of something Mendel, who was
Gregor Mendel.
Gregor Mendel, who was crossbreeding peas.
Yes.
And he was able to figure. Okay, yeah, it's.
But not everybody gets the quirks inherited.
Yeah.
I think to some degree.
So how would he know?
I think to some degree,
testing.
it's It can be inherited. It's kind of like mutations in X-Men. You could just be born with a totally random one, or you could get something similar to your parents. Wolverine, spoilers, has a couple kids. And they all have some degree of the claws and super senses kind of thing, and the regeneration.
Okay, so they really just did try until they got magically 2 kids who had some form
well, at a
of
certain
their
point, it's just like,
it's just trial and error.
No, it is trial and error, because that's how selective breeding works.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, there's like dominant recessive genes, there's a whole lot of stuff, but like essentially like a Mendel graph or Mendel
Yeah. I know how it works.
There's 4 possibilities.
I'm just like...
And yeah, they just had to wait until they got that like 25% chance that, okay, both of our powers came in. Cool.
Damn.
Punnett squares.
Punnett square, yeah.
And Dever's doing a lot of Punnett squares.
I guess so.
Yeah, they do the same thing for dog breeding, horse breeding, any kind of breeding of any kind involves those things.
But like,
and
what were the other kids? Did the
it's
other kids
fucked up,
have powers?
I wouldn't be surprised if they had ice powers.
Yeah.
Wow, they must have some strong genes. That's all I can say.
Well, I'm going to throw it out there. It's possible that maybe the fire gene is recessive.
Maybe.
So, yeah.
But still, like, Izuku didn't end up with fire breathing because his dad had fire breathing.
He's a rare case where, you get nothing. Which
That's true.
also happens with a lot of different kinds of, like, genes of kinds of things. Like, you don't really know when you're giving half your DNA and your partner's giving half their DNA that, what's going to come out of there. So sometimes dominant genes show up because they're dominant genes. Sometimes recessive gene shows up because the dominant one didn't outdo it. And sometimes they just don't show up at all.
Yeah, I get that.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm sure there's 100 different ways you could figure out what your quirk is, how it works, and like I think, well, they were even saying like for Eri, who's later, hers was a total mutation because no one else in the family had that quirk. So yeah, sometimes it is just like totally random act of God kind of thing. But yeah. Anything else about Stain? And his kinky ass quirk? We're going with he's kinky now, right?
I guess.
I mean, given his getup, I'm not saying that that it's out of the question. Got a bit of a skull face. Like, did something happen to his nose?
I don't know.
Like, he just was born without one, or I don't know. It's weird. Season 3?
Sure.
Yep.
Season 3. What was this about? Provisional licenses? Or no, other stuff?
No. The first part. Well, the first half of season 3.
Oh wait, fuck!
3.
Stop!
Wait.
No season 3. What? We forgot the final exam.
Oh.
Shit! You guys were bringing that up earlier, and I forgot.
I mean, it's kind of interesting to see the different team ups that happen, and Bakugo and of course Bakugo and Deku have to team up, and of course they have to face off against All Might, which is I'm sure that wasn't pre-planned at all by the faculty or anything like that.
They did pre-plan. They pre-planned everything on that.
I know. I'm joking.
Other than them, because that's probably was one of the bigger character things. Who had the most interesting fight?
I want to say Todoroki and Momo and Eraserhead.
Yep, that's the other one that they actually put time into.
Yep.
I think I'm kind of seeing here like the same kind of issue I might have had a little bit with the tournament. It's like they want to put all the focus on like 2 things, and then everything else just kind of gets thrown aside a little bit. Not thrown aside, but definitely not given nearly as much showcasing.
I mean, they did, a little bit for each of the characters. It's not like they didn't give no attention.
Yeah, but some of them just like got the bare minimum that they could get.
See, I think with the main cast, they do a pretty good job of, with certain arcs, giving them just enough. And then with the really main characters, if we talk about like Deku, Ochako, Todoroki, Bakugo, people like that, I think they give them a lot throughout the series. But then there are some characters, man, I don't even know who they are. Like that tape guy and the tail guy. And
Their
the
tape guy and tail
animal
guy.
guy. It's
And
like,
Animal
I
Man.
have no idea who they are as people. So I think some characters get lost in the mix, and I get they're just there to fill out the class. But it's like, I don't know. Maybe the class could have been a little bit smaller overall, so everybody could get a little bit more attention.
Maybe.
Laser dude. I don't know.
Laser navel.
I
Laser.
love Aoyama.
Of
He
course
does
you do.
get-
Really?
He's French. He's French. Of course he does.
Well, no, he gets development in season 4.
I mean, he does a little, but I don't know.
Sort of.
He's just, I don't know.
I just think he's funny.
I guess. I guess him and Mineta at least have some qualities that are memorable, love them or hate them. But
No, I
it's
hate
like, so
Mineta.
they're
I
not
wish he
like the
would die.
tail guide stuff. What?
I said, I hate Mineta. I wish he would die.
Yeah, he's
He can't die. He's a cockroach.
He's pretty annoying. I remember him, but for all the wrong reasons.
Like, if this was any other school in any other real world, he would have been suspended or expelled for his harassment.
Yep.
I
And
feel
yet
like all
somehow-
animes have at least one of those like super pervy like kind of characters, but
Yeah, but they usually give them something other than that
Right,
as well. Like
yeah.
Jiraiya's a perv, but he has more things going on than just that.
yeah, I mean he's a great character because that's not everything he is. But it's like Mineta, I feel like that's just his one quality, and that's why he's not great. Like I don't mind the pervy characters when they have other personalities.
Yeah, like, even the characters you said don't get a lot of development, like Gojiro, the tail guy, and then Sarah, the tape guy. It's like, at least they're nice. At least, you know, you don't mind them on screen. Mineta is just like, why are you here? Like, yeah, he has some funny moments, but...
He's there because he's Horikoshi's favorite character.
Yes. I was just telling Al that, and he was like, "What?"
Yeah.
He's like his
Yeah.
fave.
Yeah.
I don't know why exactly. He finds him funny.
Look, man, some people just like stuff for whatever reason, and it baffles some people, and it doesn't baffle other people. Some people like anchovies on their pizza. I don't get it. Good for you if you do.
That or he's trolling because he knows everybody
Quite
hates
possibly.
on him.
We can talk about that later. You know what's
I
coming.
know
You
the
know.
recent stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll get there. We will. There's a whole section we can devote. Just to hating Mineta. I don't know. God, what was I gonna say? Damn it.
Was it about Mineta?
No, it was kind of like, because we were also talking, like, I feel like to some degree, some characters kind of get put in the background because maybe they didn't think about it early on, but they kind of... Tape Guy, I don't know is ever going to get a lot of screen time. And I think it's mostly because he's Spider-Man. He's just straight up Spider-Man. His power, the way he moves around, the stuff he does with the tape, he's just Spider-Man. I think they were
still
like,
have
maybe
stuff.
we shouldn't just make him Spider-Man.
I feel like a lot of people have similar powers to superheroes in comic books because that's what it's based on. So I don't think that's a reason not to develop the character. I just think there are some characters that maybe because the class is so big, maybe the author just feels comfortable leaving them in the background. But sometimes I'm like, they might as well not be there. But I guess they're helpful in fights or whatever.
Ooh, Captain Diabetes. He's the one person we haven't mentioned yet.
Who was
Not
he?
true.
No, we have not.
We haven't mentioned him, but there's another character we're forgetting.
Wait, who
Mina.
else are we
Who?
forgetting?
The bug dude. Or the creature
dude.
dude. The fauna dude.
Animal Voice Man.
Animal
We
guy.
talked about
Yeah,
him.
we
Yeah.
mentioned him briefly.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, wait. One more. Earjacks.
Oh wait, oh yeah, he was the guy who
Sugar
baked
Man,
and won the room
yeah.
contest.
Yeah.
He was wholesome, so I'm okay with him.
Yeah. Oh, and Electric Man. Yeah.
Kaminari.
Kaminari
We
is
never
my
mentioned
favorite.
him.
My favorite.
pretty
yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
I feel like Jiro
Facts.
gets some good stuff later on in season 4.
Yeah, she doesn't get a whole lot early on.
She doesn't get much early on, but I think she has an interesting character design. She's kind of a fun character, so I think she's pretty good. But she's just kind of, she's not in the background so much. I feel like she sticks out enough. It's mostly just those other 3 that I just do
Mina.
not remember.
We didn't talk about her at all either.
Oh yeah, she's fun.
This is like
I
all
like her.
like I think you're right. There's like a large cast here that just
Some of them you just
we don't
forget.
have any time to talk about any of them, and you don't have any time for character shit. Because like again, it's one of those I think this is just a result of the large cast. Even thinking about like back in season 1 with the indoor battle simulation, we really only got Deku versus Bakugo, and everything else was like, here's the 10-second overview of everybody else.
I do think it helps keep the story moving, which is nice, because
Without a
if they
doubt.
slow down, it might end up with some of the problems like Naruto has, for instance, where it gets a little slow sometimes because of that.
We'll get there.
Yeah, so it's like at least it keeps going because it's just focusing on the stuff they know we want to see. But at the same time, some characters get lost in the mix. I do like that one episode that comes later where they show their dorms and stuff, because I feel like it does help me remember the characters that I don't normally remember.
That's true. That is good.
Except I think the tail guy had a really boring room or something.
Yeah,
I was
he
like,
did.
that did not help at all.
Really, he is like the one person who just kind of, him and Animal Voice dude kind of got a thing for a while. He had a thing with
The training camp.
earphone jack and the training camp thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
That
tail
guy.
tail guy might be the most shafted of all.
Yeah, Ojuro.
He couldn't even get an interesting room.
Right. He just didn't know what to do with him at all.
I mean, not to knock his powers, but he really just gave him a tail.
He just has a really strong tail.
Yeah.
Poor tail guy.
Yeah. So yeah, Bakugo and Deku fought while fighting All Might.
Yeah.
Back to subject, I guess. I don't know.
Oh yeah, that's what we were talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It was a good fight. It was kind of like they worked together, but they didn't, and like I don't know. I think I liked the Momo Deku or Todoroki Eraserhead fight a little bit better.
Yeah.
Well, I think one was because like I feel like it was like character development stuff. One, from the tournament, like you guys were saying. Two, for Todoroki, maybe not taking the lead as much.
Yeah.
Because he's definitely one of those people who is like, I'm in charge first and foremost.
And sometimes I think
Sometimes.
he just likes being solo.
Yeah.
Like, he would just rather go it on his own.
Yeah, he's either solo or he's, well, if you're going to work with me, I'm in charge.
Yeah, so it's kind of nice.
I don't even know if he
seeing him
wants
there
to
with
be in
somebody.
charge, just that his powers are so OP, people just naturally put him in
I
the
mean,
lead.
that's true. But I think his sort of lone wolf mentality also has him, like, whether he's in a group or not, he's going to do what he wants to do. And so if he's in a group, he's going to do what he wants to do anyway, so you might as well follow him.
Yeah, I think that shows up in the next arc where he's just kind of like, you know, my powers just work best on their own, and it'll just get in the way if other people are mixing with me.
Yeah.
So I think he can just be like that sometimes, but I think working with Momo is interesting.
No, and that's why it's a good lesson for him. And, like, it's always cool to see a Razorhead fight.
Yeah.
Plus, that was good for her to, like, be the reason that they passed. And I think especially, like, that and with the provisional license thing really helped her character out a lot.
Momo's honestly, with the arc that's coming up in season 3, she's honestly my second favorite female character behind Uraraka.
She's actually my favorite female character.
I can see why.
I like Momo. Yeah.
I like Mina.
Mina's good too. I like a lot of the female characters in this, to be honest. Sometimes shonen drops the ball on female characters. And I gotta say, I like the ones in My Hero Academia. I like, I honestly like all of the big three that come later. But Nejiri, I think her name is, she's great. I mean, my
Yeah.
favorite's Tamaki, but I'll talk about him later. But I love
Yeah.
Nejiri. Yeah, he's so relatable, man. But Nejiri, I really love too. She's also, I think she goes up there with Momo in terms of being one of my favorite like female characters. But I think My Hero does a really good job of giving them interesting personalities.
It does and it doesn't.
Really?
Well, one of the
I like
things
the
that
girls.
we've been saying throughout this whole thing is that a lot of the background characters don't get any development.
Well, yeah, but those are those three guys.
Okay, that's fair.
I feel like the girls are a little bit better.
Okay.
You know?
What do you know about Invisible Girl?
Okay.
Okay.
She's a little like Mina.
Okay.
She's a little invisible, but you know that's.
Like I'm
Part
not
of
disagreeing
her.
with you. I think
the girls who are actually like there a lot are just as good as the male characters.
I think it's
you know?
equal opportunity for everybody. It's like
Yeah.
Bakugo. It's like, I hate you all equally, so I respect you all equally. And I think the writers are the same way. I respect all of my characters equally. It's just the main characters are going to get the development and no one else
Yeah,
is.
it's like I think it's more random than just the girls are bad.
You know,
like in some.
I mean, we will talk about Naruto, how, like,
The girls.
he doesn't know how to
he
write
doesn't
women.
Care, yeah.
But yeah, so it's... Clearly this writer does. It's just not all of them are going to get it, the same way not all the guys are going to get it.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
that's...
at least
Everything's
it's
fair, I suppose.
yeah.
It's fair in how little we get to know about some
Still,
people.
you know, Ochako's a great character.
Yeah,
think
'cause she's a main.
Momo's a good character.
Because she's close to being a main. I think, without a doubt, without a doubt, the three most main characters I think at this point are Deku, Bakugo, Todoroki.
Yeah.
And then, past that, secondary main characters, I would probably say Uraraka, Ida, Momo. I was about to say Frog Girl, but I don't even know.
Yeah, I put her up there.
And I think
I'd say so.
everybody else is third string.
I mean, you named
Kirishima,
all the
I'll put in
characters.
second. I'll put Kirishima in second
Kirishima.
string.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you named all the characters on my shirt, so I feel like
Yeah, you mean the mains? Do you not have Tail
Yeah.
Guy on your shirt? I'm not surprised.
I don't have Ojiro on my shirt. I have All
Do you
Might.
have Animal Voice Man?
Nope,
Do you have Invisible? You know what? You might have Invisible Girl. You don't know.
maybe.
That's
I
like
have
the
All
easiest
Might,
T-shirt to make.
Bakugo,
Invisible Girl.
Deku, Todoroki, Uraraka, and Tsuyu.
Yeah, because they're the mains, and they're either first string or second string, and the rest of the cast is third string, or in Minetta's case, please get him off the team.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't talk about the crow guy.
Oh, he's cool.
Tokuyami.
It's such a shame because I feel like he's third string a lot of
Yeah,
times.
he is third
Him and
string,
Dupla
but
Arms.
he's
I find
cool.
Dupla Arms creepy, but he's cool.
Yeah.
He's a decent enough character on his own, and he's pretty useful a lot of times. But
They just don't get much attention.
yeah, they're third
unfortunately.
stringers simply because they're rarely there.
Yeah. And they don't really bond with anybody else that much or have much
Nope.
to do with the emotional conflict.
I will say this, and I think this is especially during classroom type stuff. I think that he saves Birdie for the most opportune moments. There's a thing
Are
in
you talking
the
about Tokuyama?
yeah.
Okay.
I think he's this kid's a stoic. He's got a cool design, but he doesn't say anything. But when he does say something, you remember it.
Yeah.
So I think he's I'm going to utilize you sparingly, but I'm going to utilize you well. So that's kind of cool. What were we talking about? Final exam? I think we're done with final exam.
Yeah,
We might as well move
I
on.
mean-
The provisionary license thing is one of the cooler parts because again,
Well,
this
that's
is sort of-
later. That's later. That's second half.
This is what? Then what's this now?
The
Huh?
first half is them going to summer camp. They're getting attacked by
Fuck,
League of
you're right.
Villains, and then Bakugo gets kidnapped, and then we have one of the most iconic moments in the series: All Might versus All for One.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
found
that's
the preliminary
the
license thing more interesting.
More interesting than the All Might and All for One
Okay, I'm
fight?
sorry. That's the highlight without a doubt.
That was a good fight.
But if we're talking one fight in an arc versus an entire arc, I'm going to go for the entire arc.
Well, I mean, the whole thing was them building up their quirks to, get better during the summer camp stuff. That's like the first couple episodes, and then the new members of the League of Villains that were inspired by Stain, they make their appearance, mainly Dobby, the Twice guy, and then Toga.
Toga, Slice,
Slice.
Mr. Lizard Stain.
Mm-hmm.
Compressed Dude.
Who had a really good fight with Deku using 1,000,000% all for one.
Yep. And they had a trans character as well.
Yes.
What was her name? Magnus?
Oh, they have 2 trans characters, actually.
Well, yeah, but right. I'm just talking about the villain one for now.
Oh, yeah.
Was her name Magnus, or what? It was Magnetic something.
I am gonna look it up.
Yeah. The other one was Tiger. And he's cool. The Wild Pussycats were... I'm gonna be real. I don't remember them that well. They did not utilize them very well, I don't think.
Magne.
I knew it was something in that kind of wheelhouse.
And then we also had I forget his name, but the little boy that Deku took a liking to, and I forget his name.
The little kid with the hat whose parents died, and now he doesn't like anybody.
Coda,
that's his name.
Was that his name? Or is he
no.
Or is he
Coda's...
just the kid from Naruto?
Kota,
okay.
I'm sorry, he's just straight up the kid from Naruto that we watched in Shonen Showdown.
Kota.
I just called him Gilligan.
Yeah. Kota Izumi.
Yeah. It's pretty much the same arc. For him, anyway. My parental figures died fighting bad guys, and now I don't believe in ninjas, heroes, whatever. And no, bad things just happen. I don't care. And he wears a hat, and he's mean to the main character, and then the main character saves him, and changes his mind.
You're right.
That's the arc. That's it. But yeah, we had some other things. The main cool stuff here was really like the extended league. I really wasn't even that interested in them like learning their powers. I feel like it's a lot of the same stuff that we've seen before, just them doing it more. Which is good for later when they're
expanding on their powers more.
I feel like they're expanding on their powers in the next season, the next arc. I feel like this was just prep work for it, which is fine. It's necessary, but it's not like... I don't know. There wasn't like a whole lot of like super interesting stuff going on where, here, just get harder, or make a bigger explosion. Like, it's... God, we watch too much Naruto. It's all the training that he has to do in between the actual interesting things.
Oh, God.
I hope when you talk about Naruto next week that you talk about stuff that maybe inspired Naruto. So, like, you don't always have to say something copied Naruto.
No, I don't think it's copying Naruto. It's just an element of shonen. There's always going to be arcs. It's also in Dragon Ball Z. It's just way more fresh in our heads right now.
I don't think it's necessarily about it being like Naruto at all, really. And I honestly didn't have that problem with that arc, this arc that I was talking about.
It's extremely short.
It really didn't feel intrusive to me, like some of what you talk about with Naruto.
Yeah, it's a little intrusive.
It's definitely like it kind of shows that they're working on their powers, but it didn't like harp on it too much, which I kind of liked. I didn't need to see them go into that much of it. So I think it did just the right amount in this arc in My Hero. But absolutely, I think the League of Villains stole the show in this arc.
Yeah.
Like, they were the most interesting part, but I liked what they did with the kids, actually. So I would kind of disagree a bit with what you're saying.
Well, I attribute that to the pacing. I think that My Hero is very well paced.
Yeah.
And they know that, like, here, we can show you for half an episode these kids doing this thing.
Yeah, that's all we need.
And that's all you need. You understand that this is what they're doing the whole time.
And I still feel like they're growing.
Yeah.
I don't need to see every little bit of it.
Yeah, Naruto tends to be like, hey, we're going to train for like 8 episodes.
And
Saddle
plus, there
in.
are some, and plus, we haven't really talked about this that much. There is a lot of great comedy throughout these arcs, and this arc especially had a lot of great funny moments too. Like when Kota
Deku
punched,
got kicked in the nuts.
yeah, when he punched him in the nuts, and Tenya, being a bro, is like, "You fiend! A punch to the scrotum is unforgivable." And then one of the only moments in the show that made me laugh with Mineta was when they're in the spa. And then Coda is like, "You want to be a good hero, but you got to learn yourself. You got to be a good human." And I was just like, "Damn, son, you just got burned by a 5-year-old."
Yep.
Yeah, he deserves that. But
He had his moments. I'm going to say he's better than Gilligan.
I also think I like just the camping vibe of this arc, to be honest, because I like those kind of arcs or just those kind of movies and stuff like that. So I kind of liked we're in the woods and there was a bit of like fun with it.
I kind of
so
wish.
I liked it for that reason.
I kind of wish the League of Villains had waited just maybe another day to attack, because I kind of wanted to see what was going to happen with that test of courage thing.
Oh, I almost forgot too. We forgot to mention too one thing that happened at the beginning of the argument before they went to camp. They go to the mall to get stuff, and then Deku meets Shigaraki for the first time.
Yeah,
They technically
second
met.
time.
Well, first time they met personally, face to face.
That was a cool moment.
Yep.
Literally had him by a death grip, and could have, if he put his middle finger down or one finger down, he would have killed him. And the main hero and the main villain of the show get together.
Yeah, I thought that was really good because it showed like him being threatening in a way and him actually being a presence like directly to Izuku. So I actually really like that moment.
Have you guys seen the movie Heat?
No.
I thought you did.
When?
I don't know. Well, okay, this reminded me of... Okay, quick synopsis of Heat. Robert De Niro plays a bank robber. Al Pacino plays a police detective trying to catch Robert De Niro.
Are you talking about the dinner scene that everyone loves, where like
The
they just have a
diner,
little-
yeah, they get coffee. Fantastic. Beautiful scene. Love that scene. This gave me Heat vibes. So, yeah. I'm always a fan of that kind of thing. I'm always a fan of, like, hero and villain sit down and, like, have a civil conversation that is, like, way more meaningful with subtext.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not as much subtext here. It's, like, he's very much saying what's going on, but, like, I don't know. I kind of like that. And they're like, you're going to do what you're going to do. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. Let's see who wins.
Yeah.
And then they walk away. And then shit goes down.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I think like that and like what comes next with All for One and All Might.
Yeah.
I think you can really see like the parallels between like them and the people that they're like their mentees, and I really that's another thing I really like about the show is how it positions Deku and Shigaraki as being like the light and dark side of each other.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what the highlight for me was like in the I guess we call it Camp Invasion.
Yeah.
Like they had a lot of really interesting points in here, not just with like the villain attack, but like again, I think this is what I was looking for a little bit more than that I was looking for in some of those other arcs that showcased a lot of powers. I think this is what I was looking for here because we have a series of individual fights or as groups or whatever against people with kind of some out there powers that they have to figure their ways around. Like there's I think his name is Silverfish or something. The gimp guy with the teeth. How do you deal with him?
Yeah.
Birdie went nuts. How do you deal with that? You got Dobby getting cloned by Twice. I love Twice.
I
by
love
the way.
Twice too.
Yeah,
He's great.
he is great comic relief.
It's Deadpool.
He's basically Deadpool, but
He's pretty much just Deadpool.
But I love it.
Yeah. You had the chase with like they captured Bakugo with
I thought that
Mr.
was
Compress.
really cool with
Yeah.
the magician like guy.
Yeah, he's interesting. Like you have a lot of, I like how it's like you have a showcase for a lot of different powers and a lot of different fighting styles. And you have a showcase of just a lot. And I think this was probably one of the arcs that probably did it a little bit better than some of the previous ones. I think what I'm saying is they're slowly getting better at showcasing large groups with like differing power sets and fighting and like keeping it like. It might be a situation of like sometimes the writer's just like, I have 2 or 3 really good ideas right now, but I have like 14 matchups, so we're going to kind of skip over them a little bit, which keeps the pacing up, which is good. But I feel like here's where everybody's getting a time to shine a little bit.
And I honestly think like one of the reasons why this particular series of fights really stands out is because it's a real threat and a real enemy that we haven't seen as much before, because we usually see them either fight each other or fight professors.
Well, no, the first season, the USJ attack.
Yeah, but they didn't do that much. They were
okay,
really
you're right. It was
just
mostly just Deku and them,
know?
but yeah, we didn't really see what everybody else was doing.
I feel like this is the big one where it's like you get a group of students and a group of villains that are kind of comparable to each other in a way.
Yeah.
And they have to like fight each other. So I feel like that's what made this one really good. And I actually really like this part. It's probably one of my favorite parts overall of the show.
I am going to put it down there. Slice is really dumb because his giant taped together sword collection, not very good.
Which one was that?
Lizard Stain.
Oh, Lizard Stain.
Yeah. So, just little science kind of thing. The more blades that you pack together closely, the less cutting power you actually have, and the more it just becomes a bludgeoning weapon. Because, like, a single blade on its own will cut through something, but, like, the more you just... It's like the whole... There's people who, like, lie on a bed of nails. The reason that it doesn't hurt them is because their weight is evenly distributed over all of them. So, when you have a big-ass sword made up entirely of small individual blades, all those blades kind of just come together into a bludgeoning weapon at a certain point.
He's an anime character.
He's an idiot.
Well, it seems to work just fine, right?
I mean, if you just want to beat someone over the head with it, sure.
Did he not actually
cut
slice
someone
anyone?
No, he didn't. He missed the majority of his shots, I think. He's
Really?
not very good with it either. It's a very unwieldy weapon. It's just kind of dumb. He
He's
should have
doing
just
his
stuck with a
best.
single sword. I'll say, what's her face?
Toga?
No. What's her
Magne?
face? Magne. She was doing some work with that. She had it figured out. It was like, I got one weapon that I utilize my quirk with, and that's just like, it's like focused. I
Oh,
like
yeah,
that. That was
that's
good.
true.
They were far more of a threat than Slice was. Honestly, I think it's because of Slice that they got beaten. Did someone throw them into her? And I think that's what happened.
I like Lizard Stain. We're gonna be picking on Lizard Stain.
Because he's an idiot. I'm sorry. He's kind of stupid.
Oh.
I'm sorry that you like him. It's just, I think he seriously needs to work on what he's very style over substance right now, and he needs a little more substance to
Damn.
work. He's literally copied his idol's costume and just tied a whole bunch of swords together. Like, it's
Could
dumb.
say the same about Deku. I'm kidding.
Hold on now, you could. In season 1, yes, you could. We all know what that hood thing was on his costume. Even All Might was like, "You're so obvious."
Right?
He's really got to lose that and just come up with like something else, like a domino mask or something. I don't know.
He doesn't really wear the hood, but
Not much, but it comes
just
up every
kinda
now
there.
and then.
Yeah. Does he ever get rid of it, or is it always there? In his later costumes.
I think it's a half mask
Yeah.
now, but I don't know.
I guess way later, maybe he gets rid of it.
I think you should go with the domino mask. I think it would work better for his whole thing.
Deku?
Yeah. I mean, if you're gonna go with anything, he's fine without it.
I mean, once again, he doesn't really wear the hood thing like a mask, even though that's what it is. He doesn't actually. He just leaves it there.
I think like the main thing is just get rid of like the bunny ears. I know they're supposed to be All Might's hair, but it just looks like bunny ears.
I think it's cute.
Nah.
I don't like it either.
Thank you.
It's not like he wears it on his head.
Yeah.
Then what's
Really
the point of it?
Yeah.
It's to remind him of All Might, I think.
He's literally got his quirk flowing through his body.
But
what
also,
more?
like, his mom made that costume.
Yeah, and the
to,
majority of
like,
it is still
resemble
the
that.
mom's. I'm just saying, of the percentage of the costume that mom made, which is like 100%, only like 10% is that hood.
I
you
think
can still
it's
keep the
just,
90.
It's cute that he wants to keep it. I don't know.
Whatever.
Anyhow.
Yeah.
What were we talking about? The lizard guy.
The wizard guy. Mr. Compress. Yeah.
No, the lizard.
What? The lizard guy. You're a lizard, Harry.
I liked the magician guy, though.
Yeah.
He had really cool, like, escapism thing going on.
Yep. I liked his voice actor.
He was very handy.
He's like one of those people you hear all the time, but I never remember his name.
I thought that scene was really cool where they came back, and we're trying to get the little marbles from them.
Mm-hmm.
The stuff with Dobby was cool too during that scene.
Yep.
That was a highlight for me.
Oh, the Toga Ochako Suyu fight was interesting.
That was cool. Yeah.
Again, kind of ruined the whole test of courage. It would have been kind of fun to see that, but yeah, I'm trying to think because this mainly leads into the next arc with what do we call it? The Bakugo retrieval arc.
Yes,
I think
that's
that might
exactly
actually
what they
be
call
what it's
it.
called.
It's
though.
really called that. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe people were joking. Is that what it's called?
No, I think that's what it's called. The Bakugo retrieval arc or something like that.
Yes.
I mean, you basically get the Bakugo rescue squad of Hiroshima, since it's like his closest friend, Deku,
his air
Ida.
quotes closest friend.
Yeah, Ida, Momo, and Todoroki, and I think the five of them work really well together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they do. They got disguises, they got the equipment that they needed, they came up with a plan, and to be fair, like it's like almost all the top students in the class working on this. So like they're acting very smart about how they're going about this. They're clearly out of their depth, but they're still being cautious and like figuring out what they got to do. So I got to give them a lot of points for that.
And
that
to be
being
fair,
said,
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, once they see All for One himself, they realize, yeah, we don't have a shot in hell. We just gotta sneak past him while All Might deals with this shit.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was gonna say. Like, you know, as much as their squad got together and had a plan, we know what this arc is about.
Yeah.
This is just a build up to one singular event.
And it's like easily one of the best moments of the series. Like it's basically Gandalf versus Dumbledore from Order of the Phoenix, except it's a better outcome this time.
True.
Gandalf versus Dumbledore?
Oh, sorry,
You mixed some stuff. I thought you were gonna be like
Dumbledore versus Voldemort.
I thought initially he was gonna say Gandalf versus Balrog, and then he was like Voldemort, and I'm like, and I think I just immediately placed Dumbledore in place of Gandalf.
Yeah, I meant to say Dumbledore versus Voldemort.
Fantastic. Either way, it's a fantastic tour de force acting from Patrick Stewart. He wasn't in either of those.
But yeah, I mean, I think this part was really great. And I liked all the emphasis they put on, like, the meaning of All Might and him as a symbol to everyone. Like,
Yeah.
they showed, like, the flashes to the people watching. Like, even when, like, he shrunk down again, like, lost his powers and nobody had ever seen him like that, they all, like, still cheered for him. And,
Yeah.
like, were still wanting, like, him to win. And I just thought that was really powerful, you know, and it really summed up, like, it was, like, definitely a crescendo in terms of All Might and who he was for the people.
And it's also a big turning point in the series because, like, he can't use All for One anymore. Like, he's, as far as, you know, him being actually physically on the battlefield, he's done. He can't go back anymore. He's, you know, that's it.
Which is huge because, like, the majority of the time, like, that was the safety net that everybody had, was knowing that he was around. And now it's like,
he's not here.
He's not. He's around.
He's
not
here
here.
in spirit.
Oh, God.
He's
Now
still
he sounds like he's
Toshinori,
dead.
but
No.
And you know what that means? Endeavor's the number one hero now. By default. I do find it kind of like... It's a little kind of funny and satisfying that the only way he achieved his dream was, like, through no actual ability of his own. I think that kind of stings a little bit for him. It's kind of like Bakugo, actually, winning the tournament by not being able to fight someone at full strength.
Right. It's like a consolation prize.
Yeah, you got the consolation prize, Endeavor. How does that feel? You're not even the most popular hero. No, we'll get to that. But yeah, the fight was cool. It was actually kind of interesting to see because, like, I mean, I know that All for One is definitely like one of those I plan out everything kind of villains. But it was kind of interesting to see him actually, like, show some degree of care for his subordinates and, like, trying to get them out of the way while he was fighting All Might. And, like, I know it was so that they could all do his bidding later and get him out of prison or something. But still, like, I feel like other lesser villains might have just, like, they're around. I'll kill them too if they get in the way.
Yeah.
So... clearly thinking more long-term as far as a villain goes. And we still don't know a lot about him yet as far as what his overall plan is. We just know he's gathering strength. So. I don't know, what else? You guys got other things to say about the fight? The big fight?
Not particularly.
There's a lot of pressure on Deku now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when your hero basically says, your turn.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That'd be rough.
Yeah, that's rough, buddy. You know what's even more rough than that? Getting into a fight with your, air quotes, friend about that. Like, almost directly afterwards.
Well, that comes after the provisional license.
Oh,
Yeah.
does it? Okay.
Yeah.
It's all sort of like... We watched this all very fast. It's a little bit melded together.
It goes camping, then the attack, then rescue, then All for One versus All Might, then the provisional license exam, and then Bakugo versus Deku.
I gotta say, I really like the provisional license exam, and I think it's probably for the same reason that I liked a lot of elements from the sports festival, showcasing a whole lot of stuff, showcasing the creative ways in which you can use that stuff, and yeah, good character things as well for everybody. Everybody who is important enough to get a character thing.
Yes.
Yeah, so we get to see some other schools, which is not something we like talk about very often, but there are other hero high schools out there that do stuff.
Schools.
Well, to hear them say it, they say they're better, but also Eraserhead gets a possible ship.
Oh yeah.
No,
I like this joke.
Not if he has anything to say about it.
I do like that dynamic. They're fun. They're fun to watch. Marry me? No.
A mutual love bloomed. No, it didn't. It did at my end.
Then it's not mutual. I honestly,
or when she said, "Get married to me, and your life will be filled with constant laughter," and he just says, "That sounds like an actual nightmare."
Yeah.
I think we talked about this. I kind of wanted to do Eraserhead for like a convention or something. Do you want to do Joke Lady and like chase me around?
Maybe. I don't know.
That could be fun. You know what? Be present, Mike. That's the real ship. I don't know. Who is he shipped with?
Present Mike.
Yeah, I had a feeling.
Yeah, honestly, the fan art with Eraserhead is mainly either him with Present Mike or him being Dad Zawa to Eri.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
I love it.
I feel like it's just going to happen at some point.
I mean, it already is, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah, but at a certain point, like they might like put the paperwork through and make it official. Yeah, like this is again sort of a Was it a 3-tier? I think it was a 2-tier. It's kind of a 3-tier test of everybody's abilities, starting with the I guess we could call it ball tag section, where everybody's trying to eliminate other players, other heroes by hitting their targets with the balls and whatnot. And then it leads into the rescue section, and then the rescue while fighting villain section. And I think it was all like very well put together and enjoyably announced by the I think he had. I'm really surprised he's not somehow related to Eraserhead. That the super tired dude.
Oh yeah.
Whatever his name. Mira, was that his name? I think that was his name. It's like, please get this over quickly. I need to sleep, and I have not slept. Yeah, we got a couple other schools. It was kind of cool to see some of them. Oh, hey, Envy, how was Bryce Papenbrook this time around?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, to be completely honest, until in our private Facebook chat that Gav mentioned that was Bryce Papenbrook, I didn't realize that was him. So,
did he do a good job then?
I mean, he didn't annoy me, so then
he still sounded exactly the same to me.
I did notice that was Bryce Papenbrook, to tell you the truth.
I did.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, there's Komida.
Yep.
Who's Komida again?
Fingers in his ass.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Dude, he's not in that fandom like that. I'm not even in that fandom. Like, I only know that because you showed me the fingers in his ass. But you know what? I want to point out, just for clarification for people who don't know, this is a joke video about a song where someone says they like fingers up their ass. It's not like we're watching porn of some character putting fingers up his ass.
Yeah. It's Komida and Sans dancing to this song.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Komida's from Danganronpa.
Oh,
to answer your question.
Okay.
He's the one with the crazy white hair and the green coat.
Yeah, that narrows it down.
I'm sure you've seen him, Envy.
I guess. I mean, the only real characters I know from that franchise are Junko and the Bear. So
fair.
So, yeah. Bryce Papenbrook's a dick, and, well, his character's a dick, and we also get are they the number 2 school? It starts with an S.
Yeah, they're the number
High or whatever.
Yeah, they're the yeah. If UA is if UA is Gryffindor, then that school's Slytherin.
Yeah, in more ways than one, because they got these uniforms that give off just a touch of a Nazi vibe. Actually, not entirely. I will say the Whirlwind guy kind of gives me M. Bison vibes, actually.
Yeah.
He's just a big idiot. He's just a giant himbo.
Yeah. And then there's Chewbacca, who seems very dangerous. He's like got that hair power. Meatwad, who, good God, is that disgusting.
Yeah.
Just that whole deal. Like, I thought Duplo Arms was bad. It's like, no, none of that. No Play-Doh, whatnot, no.
Meatball.
And Meatball. Oh, terrible. Oh, hate him for so many reasons.
It's an interesting power.
It's an interesting power. That doesn't mean I want to see it again.
It's very effective.
And then we sort of meet what's-her-face, Cammy, the girl of the group. And, yeah.
Although it's not really her, we find out it's Toga in disguise.
Yeah, I was wondering, why is everyone so hot for Deku all the time? Of course, this is the crazy one who's obsessed with people.
She doesn't really even like Deku for him. She just liked him because she has a thing for fetish and industry and injuries. And the first time she ever saw him was right after his fight with the muscle dude. So it's like,
yeah,
oh, that gets me hot.
Yeah,
wow.
she's a lot.
She's a fan favorite character, although most of the people want to bang her, so that's probably the reason.
Oh, that's a minor. Okay.
If you don't know the internet, you know the internet. What are you talking about?
I know the internet, and I will say, like, I feel like there's enough people in this fandom who are minors, so I guess it's okay. Whatever.
It's just because she's, like, everyone's manic pixie dream girl.
She's Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
Yes. And twice as Deadpool.
And twice as
so
Deadpool.
it went in combination. They are fun.
Yeah, they're fun around each other.
Yeah.
Sure.
But not right now, cause the thing I liked a lot. Again, this is like kind of like I'm saying again. I think this series is getting better at showcasing a lot of powers in large events. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if they're timing things out a little bit better or they're doing something, but like I feel like everybody got a chance to shine in this arc again. Whether it's just a little bit or a lot, I feel like it's they've been doing better with showcasing people than they have in previous let's show off everybody arcs. And we're also getting like more and more combinations of people. Like Tape Guy has a whole big thing going on here a little bit early on. After everybody gets split up. Cause him, Ochako, and Deku come up with a plan to take down a whole bunch of people, and it works really well. Then you got Momo and her squad. They do a great job of like outthinking a hyper intelligent tea sipper. That's literally her power. Is she sips tea and her IQ multiplies. So that was interesting. It was like a very like it's one of those like Death Note, Code Geass kind of like outthink the other player kind of thing, which was nice. You got Bakugo, Kirishima, and who's Electric Dude? Kaminari fighting fucking Meatwad Man.
Kaminari really shined in that fight.
Damn right he did. He did a great job there. God, who else? Todoroki kind of took on a group of ninjas on his own. Speaking of Naruto, I know this is dumb, and like I know it's just because I'm a Naruto fan, but like I'm kind of interested in the hero school for ninjas. like you
Wait,
guys
were
are really
they from a specific school?
that
was
was
all
a school.
Ninjas?
They were all ninjas from a school.
I assume maybe they were just like a group of people who were ninjas, but they're not at a ninja school.
I think they're from a ninja school.
Huh.
I'm sorry, you say ninja school, and I'm interested like, okay, where, how, what do you do, what's going on here? How does this work? So yeah. And yeah, everyone's kind of like showcasing a whole lot of cool stuff, and then you have the civilian rescue thing, which I think was good for a lot of people. Like, you're talking about Naval Laser. That's where he gets to shine a little bit because he actually got a little bit of confidence back working with Ida during the ball tag thing.
Yeah, he actually had some moments in this one.
Yeah, a light quirk that generates light. It's good for rescue stuff. Everybody kind of working together. It's good to see people working together and like using their powers in conjunction with each other in one way, shape, or form.
But
and then
also,
Gang Orca comes in.
Oh yeah.
And then they got to figure out, okay, how do we fight this guy but also save people? And to some degree, they do well. To other degrees, they do not. We had that whole thing with Whirlwind and Todoroki, and I hate your father. Well, I hate him too.
I mean, it's like Todoroki obviously had the best intentions, but it's like,
yeah,
obviously everybody has their limits, and him getting into that fight cost him to get his license.
Yeah.
Because like literally everybody in the class except Bakugo and Todoroki got their license. So you feel, I mean, you don't feel bad for Bakugo because he's a bitch, but like as far as Todoroki, it's like if he would have just put his feelings aside, but again, he's human, you know. Everyone has
put his feelings aside too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I talk about Whirlwind Dude for a second? Because we were talking about him a little bit after we found out his origin story, and so apparently he was like one of the top people coming into UA and then didn't go to UA, and we find out it's because he was a Hero fan as a kid, and then Endeavor didn't give him an autograph because Endeavor's a dick, and then he met Todoroki, and Todoroki was kind of a dick to him, and then he's like, well, I'm switching schools now. I'm like, you're a bit of a bitch. You're a bit of a petty bitch.
He was a little sensitive about it.
How do you want to be a hero and you be that sensitive to one guy in your class not being your friend immediately?
Yeah, Todoroki just kind of looked at him wrong, and he was like, quit.
He not just quit, moved across the country.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, what's gonna happen when one person has, like, a bad comment about you on the internet?
I mean, I kind of get the thing with Endeavor where it's like you never want to meet your heroes, and it was
Yes.
kind of that sort of issue where it was like he was discouraged by that or whatever.
And granted, he was a child back then, so
Yeah,
I'm sure, like,
so
yeah,
it's
that
like,
will
it
probably
might have
mean a
left
lot.
a
But,
mark.
like,
I feel like it would have left a mark on me if one of
Yeah,
my heroes
sure.
was a dick to me. But I don't get the Todoroki thing. It's just like some kid just kind of is like, ugh, I don't care about you. And
I
then
know
you're like,
it has something to do
that's
with his.
sensitive.
I know it has something to do with your Endeavor's son, but it's like, come on, dude,
Yeah.
get over
I
yourself.
mean, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah. Because genuinely, had he gotten past that, he probably would have been in Class A, and Mineta would be gone, and he probably would have made friends with literally everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, maybe not Bakugo, but who gives a shit? No one's friends with Bakugo except for, like, one dude.
Kirishima.
Honestly, I think Kaminara is getting there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's actually a thing in the fandom where it's the Deku squad versus the Bakugo squad, and they consider Deku.
I'm down for it.
Well, like they say that the Deku squad is Deku, Ida, Todoroki, Asui,
Uraraka.
and Uraraka, and then the Bakugo squad. Many people consider Bakugo, Kirishima, Kaminari, Sero, and
Mina.
not me, yeah, Mina, and sometimes Jiro in the squad.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I'd be
I've
down
heard
for
of
seeing,
those.
like, competition there. I'm down for that, 100%. And I guarantee you, had Whirlwind Dude not been a little bitch about it, he would be on Team Deku very easily. But
But Todoroki's on Team Deku.
yeah, but everyone else is his friend on that team because he wants to be friends with everybody. Doesn't matter about Todoroki. Also, he's getting over Todoroki as time goes on.
I guess so. If Todoroki just said, I hate my dad, man.
Like, that's instant bonding right
Yeah.
there. I hate your
Like, you
dad.
both
Well, I
hate,
do too.
Yeah, you both hate the same guy.
Oh my god, samesies.
Right.
No, yeah, that's just kind of my complaint about that, because you seriously dropped out of the best school in the country just because a guy looked at you wrong. And you want to be a superhero.
Was it said that he got in?
Yeah, he passed the thing. He was the number one person coming in.
Yeah.
From the recommended list, he was number one.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Like,
He was number one.
yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, how appropriate. Todoroki, son of Endeavor, was number 2 out the gate.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think there was a lot of cool stuff, like showcasing of stuff in this this arc. We also had Cammy turned out to be Toga in that, so that was fun. Weird but fun. I don't know. She got some of Deku's blood. Wait, she did kind of use that later. I was about to be like, oh, they're saving for when they're going to use that.
Yeah, she used it.
Yeah, what else about this? All but almost everyone got their license. Almost the entire class
I mean,
got
yeah,
their license except for 2.
Yeah,
Surprisingly.
Yeah. Mineta got his fucking license.
Yeah.
He's a fucking cockroach, man. But yeah, anything else to say about this one?
no. Deku versus Bakugo.
Yeah. What can we say? Deku stood up for himself.
I will say that if Deku wasn't holding back and he actually used more than like 10% of or 8% of his powers, he would have won.
Mhm.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
Bakugo was clearly going all out, and Deku was trying to, he let him win, basically. He wanted to...
See, here's the thing. I don't know that he let him win. Because I think the big thing is Deku can't control more than 8% at that point.
Yeah.
If he needs to use more, he's going to hurt himself, and he's going to lose the fight anyway. I think Bakugo did legitimately win that fight. But only because still, Deku is not able to fully grasp his own power.
but then it leads to, All Might dropping a bombshell on Bakugo, telling him everything, like the quirk,
Yeah.
Deku in general. And I know for a lot of fans, that was the moment where Bakugo turned around for them as a character, where like they started to like him or at least understand him and his motivations. I still hated him at that point, but I
Mm-hmm.
kind of, to be completely honest, I didn't start liking Bakugo until the second movie came out in 2020. Like, even in season 4, he was still kind of an asshole, although the second half of season 4, I kind of liked him, but in a different way. But I could. I can kind of understand why some fans would empathize with Bakugo. I just think that like you don't
He's
have to
still a
be
shit.
yeah, you don't have to be a bully. Like I know later on in the manga they get closer as friends, like they actually start actually being friends with each other, and it's cool, but again, that's not animated yet. We're talking about what's being animated.
Mm-hmm.
I think what kind of turned around for me revolving around Bakugo at this point was just his rivalry with Deku. I started to feel like it was really equal. Whereas before it almost felt like, I don't know, Bakugo was way more like obsessed with beating Deku and always seemed like he was just bullying him and Deku was just like either taking it or ignoring it. But this time it felt like, okay, yeah, I want to be better than Bakugo too. And, it actually felt like legitimate to me that they felt like equals and not just one guy bullying the other.
Mm-hmm.
So I liked that about the progression of their relationship. It started to feel more like a proper rivalry to me, which I like. But I'm not sure I necessarily like Bakugo any differently right now. But I do, I don't know, I do kind of agree with what you're saying that it does progress in the manga a little bit, where he gets a little bit softer towards Deku later on, and starts treating him a little bit more like a friend. But I don't know, Bakugo is Bakugo, so.
Yep.
And like, I never want to, just because I hate the characters doesn't mean I hate the voice actor that voices him. I think his name is Clifford Chaplin or something like that. He does
a
really
good job.
Yeah, he does a really
Yeah.
good job. I won't take that away from him.
All I hope is that he, like, whoever's like running the booth at the time that he's like working in, I hope they have like a cup of lozenges for him because he yells a lot, and I'm hoping that he's taking care of his throat.
Well, right now they're all recording from home because of the pandemic, so like literally they have to record in their own home studios every week.
Yeah.
And I guess there is one other element to season 3 that kind of leads into the first arc of season 4, the introduction of the big 3.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Love them.
Fuck yeah.
Them, Mirio, Tamaki, and what's her name?
Nejire.
Nejire. Yeah. They're fun. They're fun in varying ways. I like Mirio's introduction of like, oh, hey, I'm this guy. It's good to meet all of you. I'm going to kick your asses now.
Completely butt naked too.
Yep. Sorry if you saw my wiener.
Yeah, I love that.
He's so great.
Yeah, 2 of the big 3 are complete extroverts, and then you got Tamaki that's like the definition of an introvert.
He's
Dude,
the
yes.
cheaty.
He's
I
like
love him.
cheating. Yes. I've never related to a character more. I love Tamaki.
Yeah. So Mirio has permeation. He can slip through things and, could not use his quirk very well to begin with, but trained so hard that he's now unstoppable with it. And then Tamaki can eat things and turn into those things. And Nejire, how does her power work? Is it just like energy projection?
She has,
Pretty
like,
much.
boosts or something.
Yeah, it's like spiral energy
Yeah.
something.
I forget what it's called.
They don't really go into it a whole lot.
They
But I
do
know
a
she,
little.
like... It's like some sort of thing. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Captain Marvel.
Let's see.
Got
I'm
someone
looking
running
it
Google.
up. Yeah. Wave motion.
Wave motion. So,
Okay.
like, what does that mean?
It means that she converts her vitality into energy that she can discharge as blast waves.
Okay.
And
Alright.
they unleash a golden energy that travels in the form of a spiral.
Okay, energy projection kind of
Yeah.
zappy hootenanny. Cool. They start work studies after getting their asses kicked by Mirio, who is way better at that than they are at this point.
Yeah, I like how they talk about it's all about like how hard he worked and like his skill more so than even though his quirk is awesome, you know, it like took him a long time to actually get it down and get to where he is, you know. So I like
kind of like Deku a little bit.
Yeah.
Like you have a very good quirk, but it's not good until you really figure out how to use it.
Yeah.
And he's still figuring that. I mean, this is the point where he's like starting to figure out, hey, maybe I shouldn't punch things anymore. Maybe I should try kicking.
Shoot style.
Then maybe I should start kicking.
I want to do some kicking. Yeah, everyone's kind of like learning how to use their powers in different ways and making ultimate moves and stuff, which is pretty cool. I mean, actually, they were really starting to do that before the preliminary thing, because I think Bakugo was like shooting at stuff with artillery blasts and stuff already. Yeah, this kind of happened beforehand, but now we're really... Yeah, we skipped over that.
You know, they just worked on some stuff.
They're doing it again.
They enhanced their suits a little bit.
Yeah, everybody's working on that kind of thing, and they're like trying to get work studies and stuff. Well, all but two, because Todoroki and Bakugo have to go to remedial classes.
But that's later on the 4th season.
Yeah. I mean, we might as well get to that, because that's like pretty much the next thing, isn't it?
No, there's the whole working under Sir Night-Eye and then the Shiizaki arc.
I thought that is season 4, isn't it?
Well, yeah, that is, but I thought you were talking about the remedial arc for a second.
It's kind of sprinkled throughout a little bit. I mean, they're doing it. We just don't see it until later.
Did season 3 end? Did it end
Season-
after like the
I thought it
Kirishima
ended-
stuff? Or, like...
Season 3 ended right with the introduction of the big 3.
Yeah.
Okay. So we are in season 4.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, and some people got some work studies, some people didn't. Deku got a work study with All Might's old sidekick, and he tested him and found him to be not worthy, but he's gonna be like, I don't think you should have one for all. I think Mirio should have it because you suck and Mirio's great, and I'm gonna break you.
Yeah.
So challenge accepted.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No. Yeah, that's it.
I'll be completely 100% honest. This was my first major disappointment with the series, this whole arc, because, like, obviously we'll go into more detail, but, like, the big, Shiizaki arc, where they have to go and invade that hideout, they have... And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of great individual fights, like the Kirishima and Big Gum, I think that's his name, fight.
Fat Gum.
That was
Fat Gum.
That was a great fight. And then obviously the big fight with Deku and Eri versus what's his name?
Overhaul.
That was obviously a big, emotional fight, but I was disappointed in the arc in the sense that, like, obviously the big emotional moment was, Sir Night-Eye dying, but in all honesty, I didn't think we didn't get to a chance to know him that well for me to really care about his death. Like, to me, this arc kind of, even though it's technically one of the longest arcs in the manga, it felt rushed to me because like Deku goes to all that trouble to learn under Sir Night-Eye. They go on patrol once, meet Eri, then they immediately go to rescue her, and then he doesn't really learn anything from Sir Night-Eye other than his premonitions, and he just dies. Like, I didn't feel the emotional impact that I probably felt like it wanted me to.
I kind of feel what you're saying a little bit. Like, I've definitely, again, I'm not trying to compare it to a lot of other shows, but I've definitely seen other shows where you have a mentor type figure die that it's more impactful, probably because they were a mentor from much earlier on. Like, maybe had we met Night-Eye a little bit earlier. Like, here's the thing. Mirio is going through a lot.
Oh yeah, that was like his
Because
that was
yeah,
his
he
teacher.
worked for him a lot. But, like, because we don't see that as much, I don't think it impacts us as much. Like, had we been there for a little bit longer with him, I think that would have been a little more impactful. That being said, it's not unimpactful.
I think I got a little bit of him with the All Might relationship. I think because of that, it was a little bit more impactful for me because, you know, he had that thing with All Might where he saw All Might's death in the future and he wanted him to stop fighting and everything. And I really felt for him in terms of that. Like, he almost felt responsible in a way, even though all he did was foresee it, you know? So, like, I got to see a little bit more humanness from Night Eye, which I appreciated. So I think I did like him as a character, but at the same time, I do agree that it would have been more impactful if we had seen him bond with Deku a little bit, other than, like, towards the very end where he was like, oh yeah, I saw that you do deserve All for One after you witnessed
literally
the fight. But it was
a minute
just
before he
on its
died.
deathbed.
Yeah.
So it was almost like we didn't get to see, like, Deku really show him what he's made of, and Night Eye really come to accept Deku, which I think would have made his death a little bit more so because we are basically seeing things through Deku's eyes for the most part, not Mirio's.
Like,
Yeah.
even if they had, like, 1 or 2 episodes of him before they got into the big raid arc where they just, like, showed him training and learning under him and, like, get to know him. Just, like, even just 1 episode where they just spent an episode, you know, talking and stuff like that. I think that would have made it a little bit better for me, because...
Yeah.
Because I think part of the problem is I don't actually know anything about him other than his power and a little bit of his history. Like, who is he? What is his personality?
I think it's kind of like I already felt for Gran Torino a little bit because we got to see him teach Deku a little.
And we got to hang out with him.
Yeah, so
even
I think
outside of superhero.
If we had gotten like 1 or 2 more episodes, kind of like what Envy's saying, I think I would have felt a little bit more about Night Eye. I still feel like I got a good idea of who he was and what he cared about, and his personality and everything, but it could have been a little bit stronger with just a little more time.
Like, I think the arc overall had some really, like I said earlier, like some really good individual standout moments. Like, to me, this is one of the arcs where Kirishima shines and he becomes one of my favorite characters. Because even earlier when even earlier when he works under Fat Gum, or like, and he fights that one guy that basically gets a drug that enhances the quirk, and he has to
Mr.
fight
Knife Man.
Yeah, he has to fight all those blades. Like, he just goes full on Red Riot. Like, that's his number one hero. That's like his hero name, and he wants to worship. He likes Crimson Riot, so he wants to live up to him. And then that fight with the other guy later on in the arc, I think that shows him like how much he's growing as a character.
Yeah, I think this overall arc was a really good showcase of Kirishima, and definitely Mirio stood out to me.
Oh yeah, his fight with Overhaul was great.
I think Tamaki's fight stood out to me too.
Funny you should mention that about that fight with Mirio. A lot of fans on Twitter, I remember when that fight came out, a lot of fans were pissed off about that arc, about that fight with Mirio and Overhaul, because how they showed a lot of clip shows and slideshows during the middle of it. Like,
yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah,
If I may, I could see that being a. How many episodes was it? Was it just the 1 episode, or was it like more than that?
It's just 1.
Okay, maybe my complaint is like I'm. It's hard for me to say that because I'm binging. It's all going by very fast. Week to week, it might feel like
I wasn't sure why they did that. No, it was that it came in clips, like not a clip show like they showed flashbacks, but like it was just still images for a little bit with Miria. Like, do you remember that part?
Yeah, whenever Aries kind of like looking at it,
that
like,
was weird.
Please
yeah,
stop the hurting. She's
like,
adorable, by the way.
She's great, but I don't know if they just like didn't want to animate it, but it was a little strange.
Which is weird because they dropped the ball on that, but then they made the Deku and Eri versus Overhaul fight gorgeous. So like,
well,
maybe they're saving money.
It might have been the reason.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, there's a limited amount of budget you get per thing, so it's like, you know, where are you gonna put it? That's unfortunate. You get like shots like that where it's like, oh, we're not actually gonna animate it. Yeah, maybe that fight would have been a little cooler with it. Like, emotionally, it's a good fight, though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, just from a character thing, I liked it a lot. And it really showcased Mirio to, like, his peak, of who he was.
Yeah.
Like, Deku had to use Eri to win. Mirio was going to
Yeah.
win if Overhaul didn't cheat and try to kill Eri.
Yep. Overhaul was a hell of a villain.
Though, honestly, like,
Yeah.
if the bullet had hit her, would it have been that bad?
Yeah. Okay.
Because then she would have been useless to him, and then whatever.
I'm going to throw this out there. We know that as the audience. All he saw was a guy pointing a gun at a little girl.
But he knows what her power is.
But he didn't know that.
He didn't know
he
the
thought it was a bullet.
thing. He thought it was a real
He was
bullet.
trying to jump in front of a bullet for
All
this
right.
girl.
He didn't know it was a
Good
power
for you,
bullet.
Mirio.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, but really, had he, like, this goes very differently had he had, like, it actually hit her and had taken away her powers. Like, maybe that would have been for the best. But
Maybe
I forgot
he
he didn't know
knew
about
that
bullets.
Mirio was going to take the shot because he knew what kind
he
of
did.
person he was. And
yeah, absolutely. That's the only, because, like, even he was like, the guy with the gun was like, kind of like going like, I know I can't hit him, but if I know the right place to aim, and then he points at the girl. Like, he knows what he's gonna do. Everyone knows what he's gonna do. That's kind of always the thing that happens to, like, the hero. It's always like, oh, I'm gonna dangle 2 people off the bridge. You can only save one, kind of thing. Like, they put you in the position that forces you to sacrifice yourself. I'm gonna be honest, had it hit her, though, let's be real, they would have lost that fight in the end.
yeah.
I can't say
Yeah.
for sure that Mirio definitely would have taken Overhaul down.
I think he
But-
would have, in all honesty. I think he was determined enough to take him down. I think he would have won.
I'm gonna say maybe. Maybe. But I'm gonna throw it out there. Like, at that point, Overhaul still has that guy there that he could absorb to take him down. I don't know.
It's just at that point, what would Overhaul have done if Eri didn't have her powers anymore?
Kill everyone there because he's pissed off.
I guess he could just kill
But
them,
at that
yeah.
point, Deku's got to fight him and doesn't have Eri to heal the arms and stuff.
Yeah, maybe everybody would have died.
Yeah. I'm just saying, it would have been a much tougher fight, possibly, had Eri not been there. Or maybe you're right. Maybe Mirio takes him down completely. I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
Still a good moment, though, with the Eri and Deku fight.
Yeah. Probably really cool for Deku to finally feel like what it's like to have all of One for All active.
I don't know that her powers make sense, though.
The reversal thing?
Yeah, because she can reverse it to a time when they didn't have those genes. But how does that make sense with genes? Because don't you always have your genes? How can you go to a time when you didn't have them?
Yeah, before they mutated.
Is that someone talking who's not actually on the thing?
So,
What was that? Mutations, they said?
okay, so in this universe, you're not born with your quirk. It's a mutation.
See, they're not clear about it. If we already compare this maybe to X-Men, and, you know, quirks might be inherent, they just manifest later,
Yeah.
then I don't know how that would work.
But maybe everyone has a mutation? I don't know.
Like, I think part of it, I feel like I mentioned this while we were doing this, is like, they don't know how science works all the time, because I think I kind of have a problem with Mirio's power, if I'm being honest. First time we saw his power, he was inside of a wall talking to Deku. He shouldn't be able to talk or breathe.
No, he can because part of his body, like, is outside of it.
That's what I
I
was
get what you're
thinking.
saying, but he said that whenever he permeates, whatever he's permeating, everything goes through it. So if he's permeating, air doesn't go into his lungs, it goes through his lungs. So if the only thing outside of permeation is his face, how is he making air come out of his mouth?
I guess so.
I guess it's
Yeah.
one of those things where it's like, let science fiction do its thing. It's like in Star Wars. It's like,
I gotta say,
technically-
I think Ares the same way.
I think we just had to suspend our disbelief in some capacity.
Yeah, and
I was just
I
curious,
don't know.
but I don't know.
I feel like her power is reversing time's effect on something.
Yeah.
But
But
to
she
be fair,
can also reverse people to just disappear out of existence.
well, that's time reversing on you. You turn into a fetus and then into nothing.
Yeah.
But I think what they did, because the bullets, the anti-quirk bullets, aren't just straight up her blood. They were distilled. They went through a process. I think they isolated her power and directed it towards a singular thing, reversing quirk manifestation.
But I remember, like, how they were trying to explain it was, like, she reverses it to a point, like, before mankind had quirks.
Yeah, I think that was a dumb
I
explanation.
don't
that just didn't
understand what
work.
that means, yeah.
Like, if it was a situation of, like, we're going to revert your power to before you had it, like when you were, like, 2.
Like, maybe if
Yeah.
quirks do manifest when you're older and
It
they're
says... Sorry, I'm looking it
Go
up.
ahead.
Yeah, no, we need an explanation.
curious.
Here. Go for it.
It says that, that the person's quirk normally manifests anytime before the age of 4, sometimes even straight after birth, such as in the case with present Mike and the luminescent baby. But it looks like they're not born with them. They manifest.
Okay, so it could be possible that she's reversing the quirk to the point where it had not manifest.
Yeah.
But that brings
Yeah.
up the question
Will it eventually manifest
that exactly
then?
what I was going to bring up. This could be just like a
Is
waited
it-
out
But
kind
they
of thing.
said it's not temporary. They said it's permanent.
I'm going to throw
So
this
does
out
she
there.
hold the genes there?
I'm going to throw this out there. How the fuck do they know?
Yeah,
They just
who they
developed this
tested on.
bullet.
Like,
Okay,
Well, they
this
said
has
that
been
they've been
around for like 3 weeks.
Well,
There's a lot of
they said they've been researching on Eri ever since her parents wanted nothing to
That's
do with
true.
her, and they.
Okay, yeah, but can I throw this out there? How long has that been?
Well, I think they said that she was 4 whenever her parents abandoned her, and she's 7
6.
in the current timeline. So I guess 2 to
Okay.
3 years.
But now they've just finished figuring out a working product.
They
And they're
must
like,
have done
"Oh, this is
prototypes
permanent."
or something like that.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, this could maybe be... This clearly does stop people's quirks. But it might not after 5 years.
yeah, they don't know.
Like, I don't think they've had enough time to really, like, examine this and see the long-term effects. The immediate effects are very clear.
Then
but it
again,
could wear
maybe the assumption is that once she takes it back to what it was, it just stays like that. But then, if that was true, Deku could never break his legs again. So I don't know. So that doesn't make
Well, I
any
don't
sense.
understand how that makes sense. You could
Because if, like, she turned it back so that the genes never
so that they never
progressed.
broke.
So that they never... No, I'm saying if they never progressed and manifested a quirk. Like, if she just kept them in that previous state, that would then mean that she can do that to everything, and then Deku would never break his legs or whatever.
Well, the breaking your
Okay.
legs thing is just something that happens when you're doing stuff. So you're this is under the assumption that he never does anything to break his legs again. Breaking your legs is not inherent to your physiology.
So, like, is there a way that she would make it so that your genes just never do anything anymore? Like the quirk genes?
Do you mean
Like, they never
put someone into, like,
manifest?
stasis?
Yeah, like, is that what
Here's
it's
what
trying
I
to say?
think was-
I don't
going
think so,
on.
no. I think it's just
Here-
reversing.
Here's what I think was going on throughout that entire fight. I think Deku wanted. This is how I interpreted Ares using her powers with Deku. I think they basically wanted Deku to go all out like he did with Mr. Muscle Man.
Mr. Muscles.
Yeah. But obviously, when he goes overboard, his body breaks. I think basically it's an endless cycle of him going all for one, but then Eri reversing his body's effect to just before his body breaks. So
Yeah.
basically, it's a
Yeah.
cycle of him going literally all for one, and
Yeah.
and and reversing her, basically stopping him from killing himself. So
Yeah, that's pretty much what they said. He's like, I gotta keep breaking my body so that she doesn't fully reverse me into nothingness.
That makes sense to me.
So what's the confusing... Well, I mean, how it works specifically for the quirk, it has to be like something that they distilled in the process. But again, I don't know that they can make that a
I
permanent
think it
thing.
was just like, I don't know if maybe it just leaves, like you said, the genes in stasis so that they never manifest. a
See, it doesn't
quirk,
seem to
but I
to
don't
imply stasis. Like
Yeah, that's
the
why I
full
was
ex-
curious.
The
I
full
don't
extent of her
know.
power seems to be regress everything to the point of non-existence.
So I guess that would mean they don't have the genes at all anymore.
Yeah, so again, this depends on how quirks manifest.
But yeah, is that how it
if they
works?
exist since your DNA is formed, then eventually your quirk will remanifest. If the quirk just happens
I guess they're
randomly,
saying, I guess the assumption is that quirk genes occur completely, like, after birth. Like, they're not
connected to your
they're
actual
not
genes.
anywhere, yeah.
Like, if that's the case, then yeah, you could probably take
So then I could
someone's
see how
quirk
her
all the way
powers
away.
works.
But here's the other problem that you have with that. And I think this leads credence to the whole you could probably get your quirk back on your own kind of thing. The blue things, the reversal bullet.
Oh yeah, that gives it back.
Yeah, they give the powers back.
It's science
so
fiction. I
clearly
suppose.
something is there. So I'm thinking, again, this whole quirk thing is just, yeah, give it a few years. You'll get it back.
I guess it is what
Again,
it
it'll
is,
probably
but...
be, like, at its earliest stage, so it won't be that strong. But I think, again, you'll get it back.
Anyhow.
Quirk factor.
I think we spend too much time on that, but...
Quirk factor. Sorry.
Honestly, it's a good conversation. Like, it's an interesting, like, idea, and I don't think they fleshed out the idea of it very well. But a lot of it is just suspension of disbelief. Which, granted, we're doing a lot of. It's superhero show.
Right.
So
I think it's fine either way, but...
cool fight, decent villain.
And then Shigaraki just comes in and just basically he more than puts him down a peg. He just basically
they had a whole thing. Cause like the Yakuza wanted to use the villains wanted to use the Yakuza, and Shigaraki's just like, we're gonna play these fuckers.
Okay. Sorry, I was just reading more.
Dude, if you are answering some of the questions, go for it. Okay. Please, let us know.
Alright, so apparently it's called a quirk factor.
Okay.
And it says, in regards to quirk factors...
This is going to be a fucking long episode, I'm realizing.
Yeah, I know. Certain quirks, such as erasure, are capable of temporarily halting the expression of the quirk factor, rendering the quirk unusable for a short period, but not affecting the quirk factor otherwise. There are other quirks, however, that are able to directly damage the quirk factor of a target, preventing the quirk from being activated until the user manages to naturally recover. It's also possible that a quirk factor can be damaged beyond recovery, causing the quirk to be permanently suppressed.
Okay.
And... yeah, it says there's a quirk-destroying drug which can temporarily or permanently, depending on the variant, sever the user's connection from their quirk factor, losing their ability to utilize said quirks. Quirks are inherited genetically through what appears to be Mendelian inheritance. So, yeah, genetics.
Right. We were talking about that earlier.
Blah, blah, blah.
Okay, so I would say that if this is a permanent thing, it has to be just damaging the quirk factor.
Yeah.
Like, regressing it to the point where it can't take it anymore, and it just, like, shuts off permanently. Or as close to permanently as we can assume. They haven't tested years down the line yet. Yeah.
And quirks can evolve on the spot.
Yeah. So, yes, assuming all that, I guess... her power reverts the quirk to a point where it just doesn't work anymore. Still feels like it could probably come back on its own. But then the blue one reverts the damage that the red did to the quirk. So it returns the quirk. So clearly the quirk is not gone. This, I think like you're saying, this is sort of just a suppressor. In a way. A sort of roundabout suppression by regressing it. I think Mirio could probably get his quirk back in a couple of years.
Well...
because he had it as a child.
In the manga right now, and it's going to come up later in the seasons when they animate it, Eraser, Aizawa, he's going to try and train Eri to control her quirk, and then at the same time, maybe try and teach her to reverse engineer her quirk, basically to bring people's powers back.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I had a feeling that was probably going to happen, but like
Yeah.
again, I don't know. The way that everything seems to be going, it feels to me like it'll just come back on its own. It's just not going to come back in a timely manner.
yeah.
Who knows?
The writer.
Sure.
Yeah. Gosh, so after that, what, like, do we have anything else to say about that?
I think we've said it.
I think we said a lot. Who wants to talk about the festival?
Oh
Other
no,
festival?
we gotta do the 2 episodes of filler that is the remedial training arc.
Oh, right. Todoroki, Bakugo, and a couple other people are babysitting a bunch of rambunctious kids and make them an ice slide. Moving on.
And then Cammy's a valley girl.
Yeah, Cammy's a valley girl who can she creates illusions. So music stuff. This is it's like a canon filler episode or filler arc almost.
Pretty
a little
much.
bit. It's fun. It's a fun filler, but it feels like filler.
Yeah.
Also, go ahead.
I was gonna say you have the whole dynamic of Deku versus Gentle Criminal and La Brava, and you know.
Can I
Yeah.
throw out there, and you guys are probably more experts on this than I am, is Gentle Criminal a JoJo villain?
I mean, he could be, but
He feels like one.
I mean,
Like aesthetically and just like his whole vibe. La
Yeah.
Brava too, to some degree.
yeah. I mean, yeah. I guess some of the highlights of this arc is the fight with Deku. Like, this is the first time he ever took down a villain by himself. Like, which is cool. And then
And now he's got a ranged attack.
Yep. And then obviously I can't speak for everybody, but my favorite part of the arc, the performance, I love that performance to death. I actually,
That was fun.
this is really embarrassing, but like, I didn't cry in Grave of the Fireflies. Like, I got teary-eyed and I got emotional, but I knew what was coming. I nearly cried when Eri put her arms up in celebration. Like, just that whole overcoming your demon kind of stuff. That was like, damn it, I'm a softie.
She is super cute. She might be the highlight of this
Yeah.
arc.
It was nice to see her happy.
Yeah.
Because you don't get to see that, like, ever in the
She
other
got
arc.
candy apple.
She was having a really hard time, and then she got this, and it was nice to see.
I think we all needed this after the last arc. Last arc was kind of heavy. Yeah, there's a band performance. There's people having fun with stuff. There's like, it's overly complicated, but I kind of want to see it. That performance or whatever Class B was doing. They combined
so
Lord of the
many different
Rings,
things.
Harry Potter, Marvel, like 18 other properties all into one. I'm like, I just want to see how you connected it all. Almost. Probably way over bloated. But still. Oh, and there's a beauty pageant. That, what's her name, wins.
Najure.
Yeah. What else? There was a lot of prep for this. There was like a lot of this arc was devoted to like just prepping for everything, which was kind of nice for like some character stuff. Like we were saying, Earjack does not get a whole lot, and she kind of got like kind of a thing. Like I guess she had stage fright or something, and she's kind of getting over that. Bakugo becoming a team player as the drummer.
You know what? You might appreciate this, Al, because I saw this on Reddit one time in a comment thread, and I laughed my ass off. Bakugo basically turned into Terrence Fletcher from Whiplash during this arc.
A little bit. He even kind of had that line. You're rushing.
I as someone who's seen Whiplash, and I love that movie, I was like,
Good ass movie.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah. just cut together that with like some audio from J.K. Simmons.
Yeah.
Listen to me, you little fuck. Wouldn't be that different from normal Bakugo, except he gets to swear this time. Again, I brought up Birdie doesn't get a whole lot unless they know how to use him, and he like got to play the bass or something.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I can do this.
Yeah.
Like, you're so good at that. Yes, I played for quite some time until I met my arch arch nemesis, the F chord. Like, that's like his only lines of this arc, and I'm just like, you know what? Good. I remember this. Good for you.
And then Mina's the choreographer of the dance team, and she got the smooth moves.
Everybody's got a little something to do here, and it's not in a we're all gonna die kind of way, which is nice.
We should talk about this, Gab. This is where Deku and Ayama become friends.
Yeah.
Over cheese.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Creepy stalker moment. He could have gone about it a little bit differently.
Yeah.
He's just like, I'm going to randomly stuff something in your mouth, and then I'm going to, like, creep up on your bedroom and, like, look at you through your window while you're sleeping. I'm going to leave cryptic messages like, I know. He's got some serial killer's tendencies. That's all I'm saying.
He doesn't know how to express himself.
Clearly not. Hopefully he's a little better in the future. That's like, ugh. It was a lot. I'm trying to think, what else? Like, I think we hit the main parts. Music thing, airy, creepy dude, Mr. Gentle, and the... I was not a fan of that relationship that they had.
Nah.
It could have
Was
went
she a
so
high
much
schooler?
worse, but thankfully he was
Yep.
he was respectful.
Yeah, but why they have to call it lover mode?
That was weird.
Creepy. I don't know. I don't know. Some kind of, maybe there was something that kind of hit home there with like the villain YouTuber.
I think his backstory was really good and interesting.
It was, and like I like how it's kind of like you are seeing sometimes in this show, like sort of flip sides of certain people, and like even Deku was kind of like, yeah, dude, I could have totally become you.
Yeah. It was very sad.
Still a very comedic villain,
Yeah.
especially with the power of like I can turn things into bouncy castles.
Yeah,
And
it was
like
kinda interesting.
all the other villains, they have these big diabolical, plans, and his big plan is, I'm gonna break into UA for the lulz, like and subscribe.
Yeah.
Yep. Good times. Well, yeah. Good times for a filler.
Yeah. And then at the end of season 4, we get the ceremony where Endeavor becomes the #1 hero, and then we meet
By
his...
default.
Yeah, and then we meet the #2 hero, a fan favorite of the manga, Hawks.
Yeah, I didn't get a whole lot of him with this, but cool power. Interesting dude. Don't entirely trust him, but whatever.
I love
don't either.
Hawks.
He's cool, but at the same time, you gotta admit he's a little shady.
They go
He's not my
into his dynamic a lot in season 5 and going
Yeah.
forward.
I'd be looking forward to that because at the very least, him and Endeavor do have a good dynamic going, or at least like a
Yeah.
good back and forth.
I like their dynamic, and he has a lot of charisma, which is an interesting thing to play off of Endeavor, who has none. So it's kind of like you have the #2 and the #1.
Did anybody
Yeah,
else notice
for sure.
Natsu from Fairy Tail?
Kinda.
Yeah.
He was the Endeavor fan.
Yeah.
He had the scarf.
It's the scarf, it's the hair, it's the voice actor, it's Natsu.
Yeah, and then him and Hawks have to fight the even more powerful Nomu that can learn on the fly and can talk and basically...
Can spit out other Nomu.
Yeah.
That's where
I was kind of like
ended-
going like, what can't this fucking thing do?
That's where I ended up, I think, stopping in the manga.
Well, then you're about where we are at this point.
Well, spoiler alert, he wins the Endeavor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he gets a scar.
Yeah, his face is fucked up now. On the same side as Todoroki.
Yeah, ironic, huh?
Bonding.
Yes.
Now they can bond over their scars.
Will they, though?
Maybe not.
I can kind of tell you what's going on in season 5 if you want me to say something without spoilers.
I kind of just want to watch it myself,
Yeah.
if I'm being real.
Well, basically, the first half of season 5, which is over now, is basically Class A versus Class B in uh, you're gonna love this, another tournament. It's basically two teams. It's teams
I
of
feel like this is
four.
getting a little too detailed. I'm sorry.
Well, no, like
Like,
Honestly, I didn't like that arc, at least in the manga. I don't know why they did another thing that's exactly like the thing they did before.
well, they already did it twice,
The
so.
thing with Deku, something happens with Deku that's very interesting. I will say that.
and
Okay,
Shinzo
leave it
comes
there.
back.
Leave it
That's
there.
about it.
Yeah, Shinzo comes back.
I had a feeling he would. He was shown at least in the festival thing, so I'm sure he's gonna have a thing. I knew he was gonna like probably be something that was gonna pop up every now and then.
But you were talking about Al earlier about how like some of the fights in like the past tournament arcs they don't show their powers. They kind of gloss over it. Not this arc. They spend
that's
multiple episodes on each fight, except for one.
On each fight. Okay. Well, I'm gonna be interested to see that because I like a good showcase, and I feel like the showcases have gotten better over time. So that'll be interesting. Maybe this will be the sports festival I'm never gonna get. Yeah, I'm trying to think what else. We're pretty much done with plot in that, like, and we talked extensively about characters in that as well.
Yeah.
I feel like we could talk technical stuff, but I feel like a lot of it would be the same as what we kind of said during the Shonen Showdown. This is a very well animated show. And it showcases a lot of the action pretty well, other than maybe like you mentioning earlier that Mirio fight that got a little bit clippy as opposed to actual animation kind of thing. This is good, and I think we have many times complimented the very unique character design for everybody. So, yeah. What's left?
Obviously, the dub is very good, and the music is really good.
Yeah, definitely.
Sometimes
like the main action,
songs.
the main theme that plays a lot during like a lot of the climactic battles of it's called "You Say Run." It's it's been memed to death, but it's a very good song.
So as far as openings go, I think the first one's probably the best, right?
Yeah.
It's not my personal favorite, but
Same.
Which one's yours?
the one that was used for the season 3, the provisional license exam, "Make My Story." That's my as far as song wise, that's my favorite.
Really?
Yeah. I know yours is Odd Future.
Yeah, I like Odd Future.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. The other than the first one, the rest kind of
They got kind of samey.
They blended together a lot for me.
Yeah. I feel like they used a lot of the same kind of animations, like in terms of just people like jumping around kind of thing.
Yeah.
I kind of wish they would have mixed it up a little bit. I think some of the songs were good, but like the visuals weren't always that interesting. I really loved the first opening.
Yeah, I mean, you know me, I'm more of a song guy than visuals, but
yeah,
that's fair. I feel there's only one thing to talk about left.
The ships.
What?
Ships.
ships.
Let's talk ships.
Obviously,
Obviously,
the most popular ships. One's unfortunate. One I can kind of understand is Deku and Todoroki. I can understand that one, but then
I'm fine with that.
People that ship Bakugo and Deku, they need to get their brains checked.
Yeah,
I agree.
It's all wrong.
And there's people that ship Bakugo and Ochako together, and it's like, no.
I don't see it.
No.
I think just Bakugo and Kirishima makes the most sense for him.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
I don't know who else I would ship Bakugo with.
Yeah.
Himself? I don't know.
Himself.
Nah, he wouldn't even like himself if he met himself.
Probably not. They would fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen people ship him and Cammy together, which is like, that's weird.
What? Okay.
Yeah.
Really?
I never thought about that.
I thought like... Nah, she was into Todoroki, man.
I feel like they said like 2 words to each other.
Barely.
If
and
that...
I think the only thing she said was like, "Ha, you're actually kind of cool when you don't talk."
Yeah.
Maybe you should do that more often.
She's right.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you, Gav. Go ahead.
I like Momo and Jiro. Which is
Tailjack?
No, Earjack.
Oh, Earjack.
Yeah. I like Ochako and Suyu.
Okay. I can see that one.
I like Kirishima and Bakugo.
Mm-hmm.
I like Mirio and Tamaki.
That's fun.
They're my favorite ship.
Yeah, they're definitely my favorite ship too. And I used to ship Deku and Todoroki, but not as much anymore.
Why is that?
I don't know, like I feel like it's just more of like a fan kind of thing than it is more like a actual like scenes together type thing. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe so.
Yeah, I think they're fine in a fandom-y way, like some of the headcanons and stuff that people have, or the fanons and stuff, but I don't see it as much in canon.
Yeah,
I just see, like, some cute fan art and stuff with them that I like.
Yeah, I agree. That's how I feel.
I kind of like Todoroki with Momo, but it comes up a few times in the show, but still not enough for me to be like, this is canon or anything, but I think it's kind of cute.
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, I'm a basic bitch. I ship Deku and Ochako together. I can't help it. I just think they're adorable together.
I'm going to throw this
That
out
makes
here and
sense.
why I'm cool with this one. I like that it's not their whole personality.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen a number of times in, like, different shows where it's like, you get characters who are shipped together, and it's like, why? Because either the guy or the girl is like that their whole existence is just the other person. And I like that that's not the case here. I like that Ochako is her own person and Deku is his own person. Yet you can tell they like kind of like each other but aren't ready to admit it to the other yet. Speaking of admitting things,
No!
do we want to talk about that?
What?
Some of the thing that happened pretty recently?
Oh no.
Wait,
I don't know
what
if it's
now?
true.
Envy, are you aware of this?
Well, what are you referring to?
Mineta.
I
What
don't
am I
think he's
referring to?
aware.
Goodness gracious, Mineta confessed his love for Deku.
Yeah.
Wait, in the manga?
Yeah.
A little bit.
He's like saying something about like, that's when I fell in love with you.
He said that's when I fell for you.
He said fell for.
I mean, I haven't read the manga personally. I just know of some of the broad strokes that are coming up later on, like the general tone and the synopsis for the arcs. I did hear some people saying that that Mineta's bisexual now, which is like, okay, cool. I hate that that's your representation for a shitty character like that.
I feel like it was just like a weird, like maybe he meant like admire or something. I don't know if it was like the actual good translation. I don't know.
There
Because
seems
like
to be
Mineta
is
throughout his
weird.
entire
There seems to
history
be a
has
lot
been
of
nothing
debate.
but girls. So
You know, he might have been compensating. You never know.
It's just, it's not even about him being bisexual, but when would he have fell in love with Deku?
You know what?
That's
I
what
would
bothers
be
me
real.
much more.
I'm just, he's the main character. Everyone's gonna fall in love with him at some point.
I guess.
Like, if we're being real here, the main character always has options.
Mineta was just pining on the sidelines. I don't know. He confessed before Ochako. I don't know.
I don't know what the whole scene was, but I really hope, like, Ochako was there and is just kind of, like, dumbfounded at, like, you confessed to it before I did?
See, no one reacted, which is one of the reasons I think it wasn't a real confession.
Maybe.
Because
I don't know.
people would have reacted. Because it's kind of out of nowhere.
Would it have been out of nowhere had it come from Laser Navel?
no, because they actually set that relationship up somewhat.
At
I
least
feel
they're
like-
friends.
I feel like he's in love with him.
I mean, I guess Mineta and Deku are friends to some extent, but I don't know how much.
yeah, because Deku's friends with everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
They don't have, like, a close or meaningful relationship.
The only thing that's close about them is that Deku sits in front of Mineta, seating wise, in the class.
That's what he fell for him.
I think their rooms are next to each other, too.
That's what he fell for him.
Wow.
He makes his balls so sticky.
No, stop.
Yeah, I actually just discovered this today.
Really?
Oh, we
Yeah,
were marinating on it.
I was on Tumblr, and I was like scrolling, and then something about bi representation in My Hero Academia, and I was like, what? And I was like, I gotta go to the notes. So I went to the notes, and I saw the panel of it, and I was like, oh.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting is that you have not one, but two sets of trans representation far earlier in the series with, damn it, Magnite, and Tiger. And overall portrayed pretty well. Especially in, like, the villains, it's like, yeah, they're cool. They're good. They corrected people even after she was dead. And, like, that's great. I don't know, we kind of had this thought of, like, the fandom is very vocal.
Yes.
We're aware of that. Everyone's aware of that. And the fandom pushes very hard for some ships that...
Baku Deku?
Yeah, that... Fuck, don't do it.
I'm pretty sure they harassed him about it. And we're like, what
Oof.
if?
I'm not surprised if that's the case. But, like, yeah. What if after so long of getting, like, we want gay things for Deku, what if he's like, oh, you do? Okay, well, here you go. And he's just trolling everybody.
Yeah.
I would laugh so hard if that was true.
I would too, because that's just kind of the ultimate, like, oh yeah, come at me. I will really fuck things up. It's like I'm the one with the pen. Don't mess with me.
Yeah.
I mean, if Minetta's bi, cool for him, but like, who gives a shit about Minetta? Like, seriously.
He's still a cockroach.
Hey,
he's a cockroach everyone wants rid of.
Like, I would
Except
admit,
for the writer.
I'll admit he can work well with others. Like, I can see why his powers can be somewhat useful. Like in season 5, he has cool in his battle. He has a cool use of his powers, but like, he's just like, there's literally nothing to him. Like, even the background characters that don't get a lot of development, again, they're nice. They can be normal people. His only quirk, his only trait is being a perv.
Yeah.
And his balls are sticky.
Ugh. Yeah, he's not really a character, but...
He's a weapon.
He's a weapon.
He's a weapon against harassing fans.
Maybe.
I'm just like, what if? I don't know if anything's gonna, like, the writer's gonna say something, or like, because, like, yeah, there was like a whole big thing of like, how is this being translated, and there's like this and that, and like you've told me that there's like arguments on both sides of like, oh, it doesn't mean that, it does mean that, it could go both ways. Like, at some point we're gonna have someone like straight up ask the guy, and he's gonna have to either give an answer or give a non-answer.
He might just not answer.
I feel like if it's a non-answer, I feel like he is just trolling.
I just feel like it will never come up again.
Well,
if it never does, maybe it is just a troll.
It was from the latest chapter of the manga, so obviously it's still ongoing, so...
Yeah, like, who knows, but I don't expect
time will tell, but, you know, you never know. Maybe the epilogue of this series is Deku and Minetta's sticky honeymoon.
Oh, gosh, don't put that image in my head.
It'll be in America, because we know that's not a thing in Japan yet. But, so sad. Wow. But, yeah. On that note, do we have anything else to talk about?
No.
I think we've done. This has like been extensive.
Oh, can I just say one thing real quick? I know we've been talking for a long time. I just wanted to briefly talk about the movies. I know they're in this gray area where they technically are canon, but they're not because they never reference them outside the movies. But on their own,
they're canon in the same way the Digimon movie was.
I would honestly say, for what they are, I would highly recommend watching them. They're really good, and they're really entertaining. Like, the first one's called... Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I liked the first one. I did not like the second one.
Oh, you didn't like the second one? I like the second one a little bit more, but I think the first one's a better movie, but the second one... I thought the first one was a better movie, but the second one had so many, like, fan moments, like, what's it called? what's that term that people like to use that like if a moment's only for the fans.
Fan service?
Fan service?
Fan service, that's it. There's so much fan service in the second one that I don't know, I really enjoyed it. So
Not always a super big fan of that myself.
it's the kind of fan.
What kind of fan service?
Baku Deku fan service.
Okay, not in that sense, but in another sense. That I said that the second movie is what made me start to turn around to Bakugo as a character. So take that as you wish.
Shame it's not full canon.
Yeah. I'm glad it's not canon.
It technically is, but it isn't.
Wow.
Damn, we might have to watch this. We're getting like some very sharp differing opinions here.
Yeah, now I'm curious.
Yeah.
I would tell you if we'll talk about it when you watch it. Because
Okay.
I don't want to spoil it, but
All right.
I do like the first one though. The first one's good. I ship Dave Might.
Was that the guy that was writing a letter or something?
Well, that was his
to
daughter
him?
writing a letter or something. It was like it's kind of like a promo or something.
Yeah, there was something in one of the filler episodes.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
like, hey,
Where
we're going
All
to
Might
America
got a
now.
letter. Yeah.
Yeah, it was basically a tie-in for the first movie. They wasted a whole
Yeah.
episode advertising the movie.
Yeah.
Ah.
I mean, they're doing pretty good otherwise. I think they're allowed.
Yeah, they have very few fillers, I'll give them that.
Yeah. Unless they're canon filler.
Unless it's canon filler,
Yeah.
which, what can you do?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Anything else for today? I feel like we've talked so long.
We talked pretty thoroughly
I'm
about
gonna have
this.
to edit all of this. Fuck.
And here's the thing too. This is about a show that you like, but isn't one of your top 10. Your number 2 show is next week, Al. That you're gonna probably spend a lot of time talking about.
Yeah, but here's the
There's
thing.
only 2 of us.
It's just me and Yin. We don't have to coordinate a night with everybody else. I'll have more time.
Plus,
Yeah.
there's only 2 of us. How much can we say between just 2 of us?
I mean, we can talk for a while. We've talked for a while. We'll see. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, come back for next week for me and Yin's extensive discussion of Naruto, the first series. We watched it all.
We didn't watch.
We didn't watch
the
all the
filler
fillers.
parts.
I've seen all the fillers,
Yeah.
but we decided to skip it for the sake of we wanted to get to Shippuden.
We saw a few
So,
fillers.
yeah. So we'll be talking about that next week, and then moving on to some other stuff after that. Also, Magi Record Part 2, Season 2. Season 2, Episode 2 came out yesterday, so we're going to talk. We were also talking about that today in the other video. There'll be more of that as well as things go on, more stuff. I don't know. Yeah. I think that's about it. Come back for Naruto next week, and come back on other days for other things, because we keep doing stuff every day, so. Thank you for joining us. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
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 Hey, thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell icon for notifications. If you enjoy this video, give us a like, and if you haven't already, check out some of our previous episodes, our daily gaming videos, or our parody series, Madoka Magically Abridged. See you next time!